12 is economic development. It's good. Then the lit special purpose keeps building up. And 1122 is a community corrections project fund, and it's healthy. And the two CUM funds, 1135 and 38, the bridge fund and the CUM Capital. CUM Capital is the one that we're using a lot of. And there's economic development, the other 5%, nothing there. 1159 is a health fund. Looks good. And then their First Indiana Fund got pretty good balance. Lit Public Safety, 1170, looks good. And then 1186 is Rainy Day. It hasn't changed. Anybody has questions or comments, just chime in. Second page, 1213 is CASA, and they're solvent. 1222 is the E911. And it is being drained. That's why we increased their percent of income tax. Then the 1233, 34, and 35 lits, the two correctionals, one is the capital and one is the operating, and the operating is the 1234, and you see it is being drained down. And we may have to take some action there. And the lit PSAP has been drained down, but it will probably be better next year because it'll get more of the income tax. And then the two opioid funds, you notice that money keeps coming in there. Drug court, 2501 is solvent. Page 3, 2509, the behavioral court, solvent. And the 4616 is the big TIF, the oldest TIF. This shows good balance. And you go down through the bonds. The 21 bond, this still shows a heavy balance, but apparently it's allocated for someplace or planned for someplace. And the 24 and 28 are, well, the West TIF is the other big TIF that's adjacent to the the original TIF, getting a lot of funds in it. And then 28 and 4634 are the two newer TIFs, the GDI TIF. And then the 4638 is the 2025 GEO bond, the proceeds of it. And there, Mary assures us that she has taken care of all of the distributions that were supposed to happen. Thank you. 4700 is the self-insurance, the liability, and the 4908 or the EDA payments. That shows the 150 that went out that gets reimbursed from RDC. Page 4, 4913, jury pay fund. We just have a lot of trials, so.
We have.
Have we taken care of that now, the negative?
They still have trials going on, so we'll be paying those claims up till the end of the year. So we're going to wait until the final jury list has been submitted before we make that whole.
So that's one of the things, we need to give you the authority to do that at the end of the year, don't we?
Yes, and we'll have a resolution next week that you'll adopt.
Good. Somebody asked a question about how much pay the jurors get. I'm trying to remember. My wife got a check. I think it was $85. I think it was $85 a day.
A day.
How much? How much did you say?
85, I think.
Okay, I thought it'd gone up a little bit, but
A
probably
day.
not.
A day.
Yeah, it used to be 25, I remember.
It went up quite a bit. I'm just not sure of the new rate.
Not either.
Then 5901 and 02 are the health claims funds, and I don't know, we're probably going to end the year, aren't we? Probably without going negative in the Fund 5901.
Would hope so, but I'm not going to promise that.
I would like to see us
No
be
guarantees,
able.
but they're way ahead of schedule, in the insurance committees. It's doing a lot better with the changes we made.
I'd like to see us be able to put that 500,000 back in that we had to take out. That would
Yeah.
be great if we could do that.
Yeah, well, we have said at the end of the year, whatever balance, if there is a balance, that balance would go into the, because we'll start off with zero
Yeah.
the next
Back
year.
into the reserve fund, yeah. If there's a balance, it should
Right.
move back, yeah.
Right. Page 5, 7201 is food and beverage. You'll notice that's back up because dollars went back in. Thank you, Mary. And page 6, the CARES Act and the ARPA. ARPA's down to about zero, and the CARES Act, that's a health department, and apparently that can just go on and on. Any questions?
On, Mary, on Fund 6203 lit property tax relief, what is it that comes out of that routinely?
That fund is used during settlement, and that's part of the property tax relief that goes to every parcel in the county.
So that balance, when it shows the date spanned expenditure, that's only twice a year when property taxes are paid that that
Correct.
expenditure hits.
Correct.
Okay. I just check that.
I've got a question on 9200, the very last one. What's that?
Now, that fund has been around longer than me.
What fund did you say, Kent?
9200, the very, very last one on the last page.
What does it say it
It
is?
says it's a TIF RDC federal reimbursement for $18,000. And it looks like it just sits there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I just assumed it was reimbursement from the federal government for road work that we've done.
That's what I believe
so
it is
we-
too.
Well,
So
Mary and I
it
both can't.
probably needs to be moved into, we probably have to ask Gary what
Yeah, I
needs
don't
to
know
move
if we
it
could
into.
move it, but I think we could definitely
they're
spend it
I was gonna
next
say,
year
if it's been there all year.
sure you could use
just
it
sitting there, yeah.
on some road in the TIF.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
reimbursement.
Clean that up.
Robin, do you have a question or comment?
On the opioid, Mary, have we been getting those deposits regularly like we're supposed to?
Once a year.
We have been getting them once a year. Good.
The sheriff recently forwarded me, back when the first tranche of opioid came out a couple of years ago, there was a 15-year payout schedule that showed after the first year, Hancock County getting something between like 65 and 90,000 a year. There were a lot of other settlements after that were doled out, not so much up front. And so it's not consistent each year, but now that number is closer to $250,000 a year.
Which we sort of expected, that it
Yeah.
wouldn't be as much as they were thinking.
No, it's more. It's more than we thought originally.
I guess
Because
it
there were additional settlements that happened. So the sheriff saw recently and forwarded to me the updated spreadsheet from the state. And it shows Hancock County getting, on average, something closer to 250,000 a year. This year it was 290.
Any other questions or comments? Brad, you want to address commissary?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So in July, some statutory changes took place with commissary reporting. It used to be twice a year. They changed it to quarterly, so it's 4 times a year now. And so it's technically due October 15th, January 15th, April 15th, and July 15th. So I'm running a little bit behind on providing it to you. But this would be for July through September. And I just need to probably just get it documented that I'm reporting it, so it's in the minutes, because State Board of Accounts is really kind of looking into commissaries and things like that. So I just want to make sure that if they come out and do an audit, that they can see that we're doing our quarterly thing, because the statute didn't change much, but I want to make sure that what it did do, that we're doing, so they don't have any problems with what we're doing. So I just want to provide this to you. This is the report for July through September. Like I said, I'm a little behind. It was supposed to be October the 15th. I should have had it here probably the 1st of November, the first meeting in November, but we were behind. So this is the report. Is there any questions? I mean, I don't have to go through all the numbers if you don't want them. I just need to make sure that I'm here doing what I need to do. So.
I know.
Brad, where does the balance go? Is that handled through the treasury or treasurer?
No, so everything stays with the sheriff in the commissary. So it's
I mean,
not a fund that it goes through the treasurer or anything like that. It's just it's a banking account that we have, commissary account banking.
I mean, are you drawing interest on it?
I don't know if this one's this one's not an interest-bearing account, no. Not to say we can't do that. I think we can. I think State Board of Accounts says you can do that, but we just have not done that. So maybe that's something we need to look into as well.
Pretty good amount of money.
It is. And we utilize it. I mean, I look at it to me as kind of the sheriff's office rainy day fund a little bit, because there's a lot of things that we take out of that provides me not to have to come and do additional appropriations, because I know we don't like those if we don't have to do those. And so I do a lot of stuff throughout the jail and programs and stuff like that, and I take it out of the commissary so I don't have to come and do those things. And then, obviously, that I come every once in a while and ask the council to approve something that we agree upon that we can utilize it out of. So I pretty much covered about everything I can think of that we can utilize it for. So,
Well, it's a good deal if it saves the county taxpayers money,
yeah.
because the stuff that you purchase with it, you'd have to use tax dollars for.
Yeah. Even though it's held with the sheriff, I mean, we take care of it, the sheriffs take care of the commissary. State Board of Accounts still considers it county money. And so it's still considered that no matter what. We just have the opportunity to take care of it. So, and we try to utilize it for, I'm going to use some of it to buy some stuff for the new facility as well. So it's not on this one, but we just bought 2 new canines. And that was roughly $40,000 for those 2. And so they're not in this report. They'll be in the January report. So.
Yeah, and you don't want to open yourself up anytime for, criticism.
No, absolutely not. And so that's why I want to make sure, because this is the one big thing that, for whatever reason, I don't know why it's so complicated, that sheriffs end up having some sort of complications about. And so I don't want to get in that boat for any reason. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So that's all I got.
So, well, do we need to pass on it or something?
The only thing I needed to, no, we don't need
Have it
any kind of
noted in the
resolutions or
minutes.
anything. It just needs to be documented in the minutes
Be in the minutes.
that the report was provided. Yeah. Okay? All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next up is Greg, if you've been through hell on wheels and
Ready to go. So, I'm going to give you an updated packet from kind of similar to what I did before, but Jim has been calling me, beating me up a little bit and saying, could you add this, could you add this, could you add this, in a nice way, of course.
Of course.
And, as nice as, okay. Where do you want to go?
You're going to bring out we're having a serious presentation.
What are they doing?
So, and I appreciate the whiteboard, Jim. Thank you very much. Art. Now we just need an eraser if I have to correct it. Oh.
And
So-
Jim can use his shirt.
I was going to say, that's
Final argument here.
Right. So,
boy, you're hard to please.
audience, you can
Robin,
all.
you're sitting so far away.
So SB one is
Leave one for Mary.
kind
She's
of
not
like
coming.
my road trip here.
Don't care about this.
Started out,
I know, we-
really
You'll have the
good.
packet, yeah.
And then the deeper we got into, middle of Indianapolis, which that wouldn't have worked either. But the more I got down into, downtown Indianapolis, it got a little bit more muddy. And that's exactly what's happening with SB. Is some people are saying, did you think about this fire territory maybe covering 2 areas? Did you think about this township might be putting its fire money in its general fund? Did you think about the county might need a little room to do something in the future? Oh my gosh, all those things are now starting to come out. And I wore what I wore today, just so you know one thing. Nothing in SB1 is black or white. Okay? It's gray. Okay? And so, sorry, I'm proud.
Black and white.
That's what we do as a
I
judge.
deal in black and
I
white.
know.
That's why it's a black magic marker and a whiteboard.
Right. So Jim deal because he's an engineer. Now, anybody else an engineer? No.
No.
Right. And so I know Robin gave up her engineering license a long time
Yeah,
ago.
but
I
trash
did.
and, trash and SB1 go together, so.
You're a trash engineer.
So let's go through and
Because
start.
SB1 is a lot of
Jim wanted me to, and Jim, we ran all these percentages. But if you want me to answer questions,
Right.
go ahead.
Well, what I was trying to get at is kind of the start of where do we start out with income tax today? How much income tax do we actually use? So that if we know how much we use now, then we can determine how much we need under the new rules, taking into account that we're going to lose property tax. We'll have to fill in some income tax due to the loss in property taxes if we want to make ourselves whole. Just that, and just trying to come up with that simple part of it has been difficult. So I challenged Greg to come up with that for us, so we know today, what equivalent income tax total would we have to have in order to accomplish all of the things that we're doing? So that we know then, under the new rules, how much do we need to put for us to make ourselves whole?
You'll see at the bottom. Right. Yeah. Markers, you'll see right down there below. And George, there's probably an extra copy if you want it here, so I always think of it. Jail lit is GRC is library special lit is. That's because we reduced. I guess I want to remind everybody that .10 will not fund the annual needs of the library. We reduced it from 15 basis points to 10 to draw down the balance, okay? So it doesn't fund the library. The break even is .7. So this is where we are currently, and this is what we kind of started on when we were talking, really you and Jim and I. Okay.
Well, just, you mentioned the library.
Okay.
Could you just put, the library actually, the actual usage is about, what, 13 basis points, 14?
We
What do you
got break even at 17.
Okay, but that's including Cadget, though. Right?
Yes.
So some of that's Cadget, some of it's coming from two different places, not one.
Correct, and I'll go there. So,
Okay.
Yes, so if we want to note that, and let me know if I'm not doing good on my closing argument. if we want to go there, the library is funded out of here and out of here. Technically, 1.5 here, and we're calculating about 0.06. And we've even gotten it down, if we use total current income for 2026, it's really 17 adding up. But this is about 0.21 right now. And if you know.
But we don't
Oh.
use the 15 though. The actual, what we actually use today is like 13.
Probably plus or minus a little bit, yeah. We'll say of that,
Because
13.
every 10 years about, we have reduced that rate because we're building up more than they use.
Right, so the balance that's in there, how long will it last before?
Well, yes, let me simply answer it, probably 1 year. If it was drawn down totally. Okay, if we zeroed it out 1 year, if we don't zero it out and we keep it at 0.10, I'm thinking 2-3 years.
Okay.
But you ask a complex
I
question.
know.
Again, it's not black and it's not
Right.
white. Okay, why is it
Right.
not? Because we don't know what the growth quotient will be by the state. It could be 0, I keep telling you, or it could be 3 or 4%.
But the balance that's in there now, we're planning on absorbing it over time, not pulling it out and doing something else with
I
it.
like to say we're annually reviewing the absorption rate.
Okay,
Okay.
But, but.
And we've lowered this rate for now to 0.10 to start absorption.
Correct.
okay.
But the actual use of income tax today by the two libraries is about 19 basis points.
17, 19, right in that range. Okay. 19.
So in the future,
So, okay.
Okay.
Or,
if we have to raise income taxes, okay,
okay.
can we steal the money, not steal, but take the money out of Cadget that we're using on the library and raise the library tax?
So if we're going to springboard, then we need to springboard to SB1.
Okay.
Okay? Because between
All right.
now
All right.
and SB1.
It just hit me that if we're taking it out of something we need that other money for, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I'm going to raise income taxes on people, I want a good thing to raise it with, and the library is easier to raise it with than it is other issues.
But I think what we have to do is we have to get to when we have SB1.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Because if it truly did come into effect in 28, SB1, or it comes into effect in 29, if it gets delayed 1 year, we're under a new regime. And
Okay.
that's where I'm trying to get. Okay?
But following through, we ought to next, I think, try to come up with the equivalent income tax that we actually use to, the library's one. How about the rest of it? So that we come up with it.
In the future here.
No.
Right
Oh,
now.
he wants now.
Well, okay, so these are the ones we have right now.
But we don't use 1%.
Correct. Okay, so go to your page. Okay, go to
Am I
your
getting
page.
you off?
We're not gonna let you
You're
get there on your
interrupting
own,
his
Greg.
closing.
Yeah, page 3. Yeah, he's, I didn't know the judge gets to ask questions. Little did I know. I guess I need to go back to your law. Okay, go to page 3. And what Jim is getting at is now what we did, this is remodeled from what you had before. The old Cadget coming to Hancock County, we're getting 26% of the total. That's what we calculated. Yeah, and it's on right here.
Yep.
From that to the total, 26%. So Jim, when we were talking 40% or something like that, that was the error in our numbers. Because Cadget, old Cadget, is really divided up by a lot of people.
Right.
You see schools, you see everybody in there.
I still thought we were about 40%, but
Well, there's
not
the
true.
answer.
I
Nope.
see it.
Yep, not true. So, and on public safety, we're closer to the 48. We're at 38. and economic development 39. Remember, both of those are kind of slightly changed, and then PSAP lip and that. So overall effective, we've got 38.19%. Okay, so now I didn't do it. You see that on the far right hand, everybody?
Yeah,
Okay, so effectively of all the 62 million that comes in, we have about 38.19.
Okay.
Okay, this is based upon 26 distributions, which is already certified. Okay? Go ahead.
so our total income tax usage currently is 38.19 plus 19, right? Okay.
Or now, and we did the effective break even, and back to page 5, this column I put over here, okay, is under kind of SB1 now. Okay?
Okay.
So, but yes,
So 38 plus 19 is where we are today.
38%
Right.
of the total rate. Yeah, so we want to, right, for 38%. And remember, PTRC is not in the 38%.
So the 40% of Cadget was pretty close then. It's 38% then. Is that right?
No,
So
Cadget
that's
is a
the
lot
total,
lower.
all of them.
Yes,
Okay.
that was grand total. Cadget was 26, so this is, let's just do this. This was 0.26, okay, percent. The next one was 0.38. Okay, public safety. This one is 0.39. That's only a little bit of difference between the calculation. This is 100%. Okay, this is not a revenue source. Lit is
On there, yeah.
whoops. Lit is 100%. PRC it is 39. Yeah, I'm okay, right? PSAP is that public safety
100%.
is 100%. I didn't get the PSAP data here.
What's the PS up there, the second one?
Pardon me?
Yep, PS at public safety at
That is-
38%.
That's public safety, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's column 2.
Oh, PSAP's not up there.
Public safety and PSAP are the total of 0.26. So the PSAP then we get is, so this public safety and we get roughly 100% of the E911 money, but of the actual public safety, we only get 38%. So the next version, I'll break that out by itself. So, okay. Go ahead, Jim, you're thinking.
Well, aren't we using apples and oranges though? Looking at the library rate over here, that's so many basis points. You're talking percent over here.
Oh, correct. I'm staying here with these are the tax rates, and these are percentages of what you get of Catchet. Okay, so this is percentage of what you get of Catchet, right?
Right.
So you get 26% of Catchet. 1% is the rate.
Right.
So technically, you're doing it 26% of 1%.
Right.
Basically, yeah, and say that's what our percentage of the total is. Sure. We did that the other day.
And what we take in and actually use is basically 24 million.
Yes. So what we did then with the 24 million is if you go back to, okay, if you go back to page 6, okay? This is where we said, going forward under SB1, okay? If you're trying to get 23 million or 24 million, she rounded it up. Everybody see the 23,911? Then what we need is 0.65. And so we got to collapse some of this. We got to collapse all this and go to 0.65, not including the library. Now, keep in mind, that did not include PTRC. Remember how PTRC works, and Robin knows this pretty well. Robin, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay. When we collect property tax replacement credit, it doesn't really go in as a revenue source to the general fund, right?
Right.
It is basically a credit on the tax bill.
Yes.
So we don't count that as revenue coming in, and therefore, that's why you do not see it on page 6, okay? So, that's really not a revenue source. You're giving that, and if you recall, I told you, you're giving that as a credit to the homeowners, homestead credits. It used to be all property 1, 2, and 3. It was brought all the way down to homestead. I don't think, Gary, we do apartments.
No, we don't. And Keely, just for note, that's Fund 6203.
That's what I was, that's why I got curious about it.
Yeah. And so when we bring that in, Kent, to our overall revenue, it's not in there. Okay, it's not really in there. Okay, so it's segregated in a separate fund, doesn't go into the general fund, doesn't pay operating expenses. Okay. Now, one of the things, so I'll pause there.
Okay, so just forget all that stuff, and if we're looking
Like
at,
that from the record.
if we're trying to get to what equivalent number of basis points in income tax we are currently using, it's 0.84 for the 65 plus 19. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So to do what we are doing now, under the new rules, we would need 84 basis.
Correct.
Okay.
But
I mean,
And now how he did that, okay,
Yeah.
because you guys weren't privy to what we did in the other room, is we took this 0.65 and we said if the library needs to break even over here at 0.19, we take 0.65 and 0.19,
Yeah.
and what do we get? We get 84.
How much are we gonna get?
Pardon me?
I mean, we've got to have that much today, so I'm assuming you're gonna estimate what we're gonna need in 2028.
So I'm gonna answer that really easy. Oh, hell yes. You're gonna.
Yes, okay.
because that is just what we need to replace what we already use in income tax. But if we have to use more income tax to replace lost property tax,
Stay tuned. Don't go there yet.
okay,
Because I'm going to build, I'm going to build that argument.
Yes.
Okay? So remember, the overall cap, closing argument, that's too many judges.
Yeah, you got it. You've been.
Going
Okay. Remember, we have a cap
too slow.
of 1.2%.
Okay.
Okay, now, if you want to go there, okay, go to the very back, new and improved very back page. Okay, page 13, lucky page 13. Guess why I made it 13? Okay, bad news bears. Okay. So number one, Jim wanted me to kind of take in, and I came up with 5 things that could be impactful in the future. But before I even go there, Jim asked the question the other day is, wait a minute, what if I wanted to continue property tax replacement? Well, then Jim, you're going to have to go over here and you're going to have to add it to your 84, okay? And guess what? You're getting there pretty quick. Okay? Because that's under the 1.2. So what most people are saying, let me do a big think about this. You know, I can't draw enough question marks. If we're going to do this in the future, okay? And keep in mind, the state's offering all that, you know, lower assessed value, net assessed value, and credits, the 10, 100. And so that's supposed to help the homeowner pay less taxes. The ones that are kind of underneath the cap, you know, if you're above the cap, who cares? You're not going to get, you'll get less, but you really won't. The credit will impact lesser of 10%, 300. But so they're giving property tax replacement credit, so we have to add this. Now, go where you wanted to go. Let's look at page 13. Jim said, well, what if we do commit with going forward to sewer projects from SRF that we've been working on, you know, behind the scenes with a certain utility, okay? But keep in mind, SRF, by the way, for people that don't know, it's State Revolving Fund. This wasn't proposed to be like the jail bond, a public bond. It was going through as first time ever, a county, and we've been structuring this with SRF, State Revolving Fund. First time ever having a county borrow and a REMC do the work and do the development of the sewer. Okay, and they are very interested in trying it. And the government subsidized rate is like 3%, maybe even 0 or 2, depending on what the future holds. So, but that's a little ways out. Mental health funding, 2.5 million. Jim, I looked at it again, and I'm thinking the 2 million was too low. Okay. So if you look here, then these are the incremental adds that we could. You haven't chose to do these, but you could have these. Okay. Next one is estimated revenue loss from the new homestead credit. That's the one that I showed you in your sustainability, is lost revenue that, Mary, we will have substantially less revenue coming in 2026. So when we get that nice 1782 and it says 20 million, that's the gross number. It's usually about 18 million or something, you know, relative, you know. So they show it, and which is still, to me, bad. It's bad management. Because every county or anybody, any new city clerk or anybody would see the 20 million and think they're going to get 20 million. So not only are you not going to get to 20 million because of the lost revenue, you know, if people don't pay, if things like that, you know, if quite frankly, there's been more of that, you know, and so they might get that eventually, but that will impact.
Why do you it sounds like that's going to happen.
This is actually going to happen, no doubt about it. Yes.
So that adds to.
So we really ought to start looking at that 0.65 as 0.68 at a minimum, just for this 0.03 of lost.
Yeah, and I'm not done. If you look at number 5, the estimated lost interest in supplemental lit of $4 million, that's a split of about $2 million in interest income, or 2.5 in interest income. Keep in mind, we had, over the last 2 years, record interest income. It's in your sustainability. My bet is it is going down. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. Okay. And the supplemental lit, your pennies from heaven, Kent, it's I think it's pretty certain that once we get to a real-time income and a real-time rate, we won't have supplemental anymore. And that's about 1.5 million. So these are, to me, this is, I see a potential real loss, 0.11. Right? Then Jim asked me to put in, we agreed on 150 million of a, you know, a justice center, not that you're approving it, not that it will happen tomorrow, but maybe over the next 5 years. And it would take 0.21 to fund that.
150?
Yeah, 150. And that's, I'm doing a 225 in.
Can I ask
But that's with the jail.
But we don't do a jail.
We already did our job.
Okay, so the revenue that we used for interest income did you calculate it going up over the next few years?
No, and the
Okay.
sustainability is going down.
Okay, so you're not just basing less interest rate, you're basing less income to have in there for interest rate?
Both.
Okay. That was my question,
Yeah.
yeah.
And in the sustainability, we got it kind of tracking down fairly slowly, because I heard you, and, we've seen the CD rates and the investment rates not going down as
As
quick as
quickly,
one
yeah.
thought.
Right.
But, 26 and 27 will be telling.
Yeah, they'll go down some, but what's gonna hurt that is there's not gonna be enough money put into it as we've been putting into it.
Yeah.
We're gonna be using it before it gets to that point.
So worst case scenario here, you've got 84, 25, plus another 50.
What's the 25?
The 25
Property
is
tax
if you would
replacement.
decide to do PTRC.
Oh, but since they're applying the new homestead credit, the default belief is not that we will apply PTRC.
That's what we're thinking at this point in time, and no one is talking about doing that.
But even if you leave PTRC out of it, at 0.84 plus the 0.5, assuming you wanted to do all this, you're already over 1.2.
Correct.
There is no.
And that's the brilliance of the legislator to get us to not overspend and overtax our constituents.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant. And our best goal is to be under 1.2, because over the years, you're going to have to climb probably to that 1.2, not assuming that the legislature will raise that rate.
Well, and this doesn't assume that you're going to give any of your hardworking employees, and notice I'm down here, a raise. Because if you're trying to if the salary committee comes back at 3%, and I'm gonna say, you're not gonna let me raise the rate.
Yeah.
So here's our only saving grace in Hancock County. Adjusted gross income, growing at 5 to 6% per year. AGI. So remember, AGI in the future, okay? What AGI is Jim's tax returns, Keeley's, and Robinson. I'm sure those add up to really high numbers. But,
You gotta put Kent in
Especially
there.
mine. We're retired from the state and the county, so we're just rolling.
adjusted gross income, if
I have to
it
give my
grows
employees a raise every year.
5%, right, then our pot grows 5% if we do not change the rate. Okay, so
So residential growth will be important.
residential growth will be important. Now,
Because there's
that's
more
not
income,
making sense.
more income
You
taxpayers.
mean
More in-
so let's be very, very specific. A house will not be valuable. I want
It's the
a
people.
$100,000 house with $1 million earner in it.
Yeah. You want $1 million house with $1 million earner in
Because
it.
a $100,000 house doesn't cost much to take care of, and we probably did that far out pretty quick. But $1 million income, so you want good housing and you want really rich people. Okay? And that is the playbook that 92 counties are going to go after.
Yep.
Okay? And so the more people in the seat of the home, the more adjusted gross income we will have, and the more that percentage, the saving grace for Hendricks, Hancock, Hamilton, probably a little bit of Boone, Shelby's not doing too bad, and those is going to be, what is this going to grow? Because that's how you're going to give Mary a raise.
Yep.
Okay? Mary, I'm sorry I'm picking on you, but I'm trying to be.
But if we look at
Fighting for you. He's fighting for you.
Not unless you win your election, and it's totally different.
But I think maybe the most important thing then is if we go back to page 13 and we scratch sewer, we don't do any sewer, we don't do any mental health funding, we don't do any new justice center, and all we leave there is basically the lost income replacement of 0.03 and 0.11. If you give the library 0.19, and they're included in our cap, we're already at 1.17 of our 1.2.
Right.
So we're already
Yeah,
there.
we're there.
And Keely, what we kind of told you, and Rhonda told you, I think, SB2 is to a theater near you.
Right.
Okay, and what we might have is, the pressures out there, cities are not working at 1.2. Counties, we're hearing everybody say, well, counties got plenty of room. Counties do. Well, if they take the 1.2 down to 1 and raise the cities and proportionally disproportionately change it, and it's because of income, they'll say, then we may be at a revised cap sooner than you think.
Yeah, Rhonda was sharing with us, the aim is lobbying to get the counties lower than 1.2 and raise the cities.
Okay. That's why you don't want to live in a city.
So this is.
You want to be that million dollar earner living in the county house.
Yeah.
In the county house of retirement.
Yeah.
That's actually what Jim's response was.
That's what Jim's doing?
When it came up, he goes, is there any room out in Spring Lake?
There is. There's plenty of farmland. You might have some remonstrators to get you.
Not within the
But we'll
town,
help.
though, I don't think.
And the total that we come up with is going to be compared with the total that other counties come up with, and there's competition between where high earners live. They know we're at 1.94 now, and Hamilton County, last time I checked, was 1.
That's why I let them live there.
All 92 of them.
So it does matter.
And so I kind of knew this roadmap, and that's why I guess I've always said, whatever you do with the library, you probably want to get it out of this. Okay? Because that was, to me, Mr. Obvious, right? And so, if somebody wants to allege it's in there now, I don't care. It should not be in here now. Now, what I also told Jim is the real risk we also run is if they did put it within this. Oh, man. And you're the only one out of 92 counties. When I am the S&P analyst and I ask you what your room is under your cap, and you discount your cap to 105 or 1, I had recommended 20 basis points, then you're going to be an outlier, and your peer group, you're going to score less than your peer group. Remember, they have a formula, and that formula is going to add up to a lower number. So I'm telling you, I think that strategy means your bond rating could be at risk on a parity group analysis.
So how do we get the library figure out of our figure?
Okay, we got a
Lobbying.
resolution here. Coming down the line.
Lobby for a different.
If Rhonda's there, why?
Rhonda.
Oh,
She's
okay,
back
Rhonda.
there.
You gonna
Questions here?
jump up here then?
Just hang.
All the judges are done with me for a second?
She's second chair.
Yeah.
Show.
Aaron.
What this resolution does,
And you're like, I'm gonna see it on
in
Wednesday.
the last paragraph, it asks the commissioners to direct our lobbyists to try and get that out from under. Basically, we're not setting any rates for the library or anything. It's just try and get it shifted out from under our rate. Rhonda, do you agree with that? Are you there? Okay. Did you get a chance to look at this?
Well, we don't have to worry about any other county lobbying for the same thing because nobody else has it. So we don't have a spoiler. Everything we've ever lobbied for, other counties come in and try to spoil it.
Right.
So at least we don't
See,
have
that
a spoiler.
that is a concern that's been raised by our local official, our local legislator that, if we're discussing trying to take additional funds to help the libraries, whether or not that would be viewed as opening Pandora's box, for additional libraries to come forward at the legislature and try to get similar legislation passed
Well, I don't know why any legislation would want this, any other county would want to add their library into their cap, because it's going to keep us from being able to pay our bills.
Right.
So I don't like to have things sprung on me all of a sudden, but we didn't get it till yesterday. We didn't
Yeah.
meet till Monday, and
We tried to come up with some arguments about why this would be reasonable now. I did meet with Chairman Thompson, Ways and Means Committee Chair, on November 17th. He was inclined to keep it under the county cap because he said you have plenty of capacity. And I think we're trying to show that we don't have plenty of capacity in this resolution. And then there's reasons why we need to save capacity, because Greg made a very good point yesterday in that it looks better to our, in the financial markets, and it could help our credit rating and in the bond market when we have extra capacity there that could be used. And so we don't really want to use up all that capacity. So what this resolution does is kind of walks through all those steps of the reasoning, why we think it should be just be clarified that it should be outside of the county rate, and pretty much keeping the status quo then.
All right, so it says .15, which I'm fine with, but I just want to note to everybody else it says .15. The other thing is, I guess you took me off the council, so my name's not there.
It should be on the, I think it's on the last page. On my version,
Oh, it
you're
is?
the very
Okay.
last, because you're a W, so you're
Not
the
on- not on
last
our
person
version.
to sign.
He wouldn't do that.
Oh, she did it on purpose to me.
I can give you this copy. Yeah,
And I have one where you're at.
questions?
Does anybody have, I'd already asked Rhonda the questions that I had about it. Does anyone?
I got okay, so how do the other counties then pay for their library? Through their Cadget?
Different tax.
Well, libraries and all
property
other counties get
taxes.
property
So it's
taxes.
on
Property
property,
taxes.
it's not in their income tax.
No?
no.
They get a little bit of income tax.
From like Cadget.
So can't,
Not like us.
practically speaking, all 91 counties are property tax-based libraries.
Okay,
There are some that receive the Cadget, the old Cadget,
yeah,
that would come in that way, but it's pretty immaterial,
okay.
We're pretty much the only ones that do it that way.
right, Rhonda?
Yes.
I was trying to figure out if they do grant us that we can keep that outside of the cap, if that gives us some advantage over other counties, which would force them to think not to do it. See what I'm saying? So, because they're going to get cut on their property taxes.
Right. That's maybe discussion number 2 for maybe next year.
Okay.
If you look at a way to increase the rate, because I know the libraries have both asked for 0.2 or 0.25 to kind of get them out of the situation that all other libraries are in right now. And that's not included in this resolution, but that's a discussion to be had in the future. Remember, we have 2 years to try to fix problems before SEA 1 really goes into effect starting January 1, 2028.
I think one of the most, because, I'm not a fan of trying to have the capacity for future councils to tax our residents more income tax than anywhere else in the state. But I think the argument that kind of moves me on that is because we're the only one, cities and towns, in our case, don't absorb any of that lost capacity because we are the only one in the state doing it this way. So whereas everywhere else, it's kind of proportionate what's happening, in our case, 100% of it comes
Right.
out of our
Right, you're
bucket.
right.
And so I don't want to put anything on top. Honestly, I would like to see it prorated, come out of the cap of everybody else, and then it's only it's only 38% out of our cap, and then we wouldn't even have to be over. But since it all comes out of the county's cap,
Right.
there's not enough room for us to individually sacrifice all of
Right.
it, and none of the cities and towns sacrifice any of their cap.
Right,
Yeah.
that's a good argument, though, for us. that-
And
that
that
we pay
argument,
for.
I did put a whereas clause about that argument. If you're
Most
looking at
people
it,
live in a city or town, and those cities and towns can
Use
get
the
their
library,
1.2%
they're
and
not
not
paying for it.
worry about a dollar.
if you're a taxpayer, you are paying for it.
Yes.
Because you're a county resident, even when you're in a city.
Yeah, you have to pay
right?
both taxes.
So when you look at it from the taxpayer's point of view, it is fair. But for the cities, when you're thinking county budget versus city budget, Greenfield was a city library at one point. And so then that does become an unfair for the county to have to pay and not the cities to have anything taken out of theirs. So it would make sense and fairness for all if it would just be a rate on top, and then we don't have to have that argument.
And not that it even ends up on top. It's
Right.
just when you go bond, you're not telling S&P that you're at your max capacity
Right.
because you've absorbed all of it out of your rate.
Well, with Greg's numbers up there, even if you take the 0.19 out, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're at 1.4. And our cap is 1.2, so we're already 0.2 over. That's if you take the library out, we're already 0.2 over. And what you're saying, the only way we can make that 0.2 up is bring people in that are going to pay more income tax. We can't even raise to get that money because we're above our cap.
If
you're
you
at
do
your
it all.
1.2.
Right, so then, and I mean, that's just rough math. I don't know if it's right or not, but that sounds like to me. So with the difference between 0.2 and 0.4, but because I don't have any faith in the legislature granting us anything. We've never been able to do much.
But Kent, remember, you are the only one that funds your library this way, but there are special purpose lits, about 18 to 20 of them, which they're already said, those are still outside the 1.2.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's not a minority of one. Okay, Rush County has 0.60 for their jail. It'd kill them. They'd go back to the poor, and I know because I'm their financial advisor. They'd go to the poorhouse if you tried to put 0.60 within the 1.2. So there's already a whole list that they said, we understand those were pre-existing, and to do anything else would be a problem.
So why not just have them clarify that this is a special purpose lit?
That's, I think,
That's
what
what we're
Rhonda's
saying.
talking about doing.
That's what you do. That's what you have to do.
And even though they want,
I was suggesting in total, the 0.20, Rhonda, I think, is suggesting the 0.15, but I was all or nothing at this point in time. Start there, and if you have to back up, back up.
yeah, does that make sense? Because that was
Oh,
the
yeah,
question. Yeah, I mean, they wanted not to exceed 0.25, even though they don't need all that right now, which I had expressed since we last visited this. I'm not really in favor individually of getting it in writing that they have that much open ongoing
But it
capacity.
would still be our decision.
The 0.2, it would be annually.
Well,
But don't forget that a few years from now, most of us won't be sitting.
Yeah, I might be the only one here,
It's gonna be totally
period.
different people. And then 0.2 still leaves a little room, but you're still then going to the legislature, not only asking that your 0.15 be kept separate, since we're different, but now you're asking them to not only keep it outside the cap, but also raise it. So then the question becomes, do you want to just start by saying, hey, let's look at what we already have,
That's it.
not change the numbers, but just clarify that we were always special and it doesn't get included?
Right.
Or do you go in and say, hey, we've always been special, we don't want it included, and we want it to be higher?
Exactly.
And
That's a tougher
that's a
sell.
question she's
that's
asking
her
the council
sell.
today.
That's
What
I'm
do you do
fine.
both?
I'm fine.
That's a
Yeah.
tougher sell.
So keep in mind, I also suggested that if we would get it at let's say 0.20, and I'm the one that suggested the 0.25, just looking 15 years out, I was like, okay, there's probably going to be a couple new buildings. And so let's at least suggest that to you all, and you all decide, obviously. But what we're saying is if it is a special purpose levy, it will be mandated that it be in a special fund, okay, and only used for this purpose, and it will be annually reviewed by the county council again. Those are all givens.
And I would just note too that in your current language, the ordinance is a may provision. So by funding our libraries with income taxes, that's something you have done by ordinance. It's a may provision that allows the county council to do this, which you did back in 1999, and that's the way it's been ever since. But if you decide to repeal that ordinance, they just go back on property taxes again. And that's in your hands. That's not a legislative change. That's via ordinance.
So I think the simplest thing is keep it simple and just try to do what you wrote up here to do.
I think I can just tell you, achievable wise, I'm even wondering if this will have legs this session, because Thompson said he knows this whole thing is, like Greg said, Senate Bill 2 and all the changes. This is a moving playing field. He
Right.
may just say, wait a minute, we're not going to make any changes like that yet.
We basically have 2 sessions,
Right.
though, to try to
Right,
change this, right?
And this would be first step, just let's get the
this
Senate
year,
Enrolled
next
Act 1 kink worked out, and
this would be
then
the-
let's
the
move
easiest-
forward from there.
the easiest thing to get done.
And also remember, I mean, I've done this for 20 plus years, okay?
Yeah.
I always like to go once and let them give me a hell no. And then I like to say, well, you gave me a hell no last week. Can I get a hell yes this week?
Yeah. So I got a real quick, on your list of things that's going to cause us to go over,
Yes.
you
Back
listed
to
a
the
sewer
numbers.
project.
Yeah.
Okay. Why, and it's a TIF district.
Where?
The sewer project is a TIF district. Well, why isn't the
think it
TIF
could.
No,
paying for the sewer project? Why is it going to come out of income tax?
I believe what we were looking at with Nine Star is number one, not in TIF areas. So it was sewer areas outside the TIF and or
What areas
could be supported in or serving. But what we're saying is we're gonna have to have an absolute dedicated source. So Jim, I thought Nine Star had unsewered areas non-TIF.
Charlottesville is what you're talking
I
about.
think
Is that what's that
Charlottesville.
before?
Yeah.
I think it's all TIF. I think it's
You're talking about where there's already sewer or where there would be sewer in the future?
Future.
future.
Because I know their territory starts at 6 East going eastward, and that's obviously not a tip.
Right, and this would even be
This
new
is-
territory if we do.
This is Maxwell North
Oh.
on,
And
and
Maxwell isn't, is it?
But yes, it
it's
is.
TIF.
Yeah, Maxwell's in a
It's all
TIF.
TIF. And even if, I mean, one TIF can borrow from another TIF, okay? We're talking about, one TIF can borrow from another TIF. It doesn't have to come through income tax, or one TIF can help another TIF. So if this sewer project is in a TIF, then I don't know why we would need to include it in our income tax.
So I recently did an SRF tip, and they were like, that's fine, but, you know, we want to have a backup to it. And if we can't provide sewer revenues as a backup to it, we might need some other source. So again, Kent, this was thinking 2-3 years down the road.
Right.
And it may have to have a dedication of an income tax to back up the sewer or the TIF if the TIF's not sufficient.
To build the houses that Scott was talking about to
Right.
put high income earners in
Well,
to raise the income
Right.
tax.
So we're looking out there.
I
Jim
know.
challenged me to kind of look in the future and say.
When I'm looking at 2028, the TIF budgets look totally different than 2027.
Absolutely. So we scratch that one.
Well, just go get it changed.
Make a phone call.
Make a phone call.
If
Pass this
we want
resolution.
those high incomes coming in,
Yeah.
we've got to have some sewers in the county.
Bingo.
Yeah, because
Well,
those
you have to
people,
have-
they want sewers.
You have to have
they don't want
amenities like a
wells.
grocery store.
But you have to
I mean,
have
we don't
sewer.
have any of this
Yeah, you
crap.
sewers
We're
first, probably.
we're
You
not
want
getting
you want
any
Whole
of it.
Foods, don't you?
I want something
Hey,
besides a
There's a
Your
convenience
income
store,
tax out there will be
Maxwell.
1.2% lower than it will in
You have
town,
to,
so.
if you want high earners
your
to live in the
incentive.
community, you have to have amenities for them to live in the
Gotta start
community.
with a good
We
sewer
have
system.
squat, okay? That's why we're getting low-income earners, not high-income earners.
What's this resolution
Could we
number?
pass this resolution?
The resolution number would be 2025-12-1.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-12-1, clarifying legislation be pursued during the 2026 Indiana legislative session.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded that we pass resolution 2025-12-1. All those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Passes.
I actually have a clean copy with everybody,
Okay.
with a line for everybody to sign.
He's gonna
You can always just.
normally.
I thought they
Right
thought I was
away.
gonna vote no. on
Yeah,
it.
he wants to know
down
anyway, so
here.
just don't even.
I don't always.
Turn him over.
He's
put
the
him
only
on
person.
back.
He's the only person willing to vote no. So
Very interesting.
we'll just let him.
Thanks for your work on this, Rhonda.
Back to the numbers,
Yes.
Okay. Back to Greg.
okay? Well, I'm kind of at a pause point here. I'm waiting for the judge to issue another or a question. Because, so what we said was, to recap, we said where we're at, where we're going here, and where we're going here, and
I think you can erase that PTRC.
Yeah, I don't think
Let's
we're gonna
just-
get into that right now.
Is that agreeable?
that's my recommendation at this point.
Kent, Scott?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Tammy?
And remember that I put the timeline in here and I said, January of 2027, as it stands now, you will start this debate, the great debate. Okay? And if it's any indication, how long did I don't think we ever got approved. And they
Well,
aren't
it's
giving
on the
approvals.
page.
They're giving, it's really funny because DLGF is giving denials,
Yeah.
but not approvals.
For what?
Yeah, they
Or-
don't actually
or-
approve for the,
Oh.
they only tell you if they don't like something
They don't
about
like it.
But they never, we did put in a final version. They never said this is approved.
And they got 90 days, I guess, plus to tell you they don't like it.
Yeah, so they pushed that out
But
too.
the 90 days becomes almost 182 days. So the current system will not work, period, out there. Okay, because if we started in January and passed our ordinance in February, we might hear by 2028 if it's good. Actually, we won't hear. Under current regime, we wouldn't hear it's good, we would just hear it's bad.
Bad.
So back to your final numbers. With the library in there, we're at 84, and then if we're looking at all this up to 50, we're over the 1.2. Now take the 19 out
Okay,
and
let me.
put the 50 in, and we're under.
The resolution that you passed, was it at 0.15 or 0.20?
1.5.
Okay, so then what's out so far is 0.15 assumption. So we still have something to build in to catch it, which means levy that rate.
And I think our legislators are gonna have a tough time getting a hold of this, with the library.
Both the libraries are here, obviously, hopefully they'll be able to educate too.
I can.
And maybe we have to do this with them.
Mary and I know that
But we're
even,
still over the 1.2 even at that rate. If we were to do all those things that
plus
we're
the
talking about.
0.15. Yeah, and remember, you've got to, what happens if AGI goes to 1% because of a cyclical downturn, and Robin and company come back with a need for 5% because, to keep employees, and I don't even care if it's employees. What if group health insurance has been going astronomically high.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, if that goes up 10%, what the heck are we going to do?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have big
Food and
balances.
beverage.
We cover it for a year or two.
We make cuts.
The balances
Do what we have to do.
are
You
coming
make
down
cuts
a
and
little
you
bit
bring your food and beverage down to
Yeah.
nothing.
So,
Yeah, I mean, your
Yeah,
point
you,
is
not bad.
incomes
Go back
can
to
go up,
2009 where they didn't
income
have-
taxpayers can go up, and the AGI we collect income tax on can still go down. More
Yes.
people can move in, everybody can get a raise, and that income tax
The
number
only
can
saving
still
grace is that
drop
we're growing
just
as a
based on
county.
health insurance.
and what we always told you in the
That's our
budget
only
process
thing,
and the
We need-
sustainability in
we
the
need
growth
higher-
factors,
higher
there's
earnings.
We need-
uncontrollable growth factors. Property
We need
insurance,
more
group health insurance. You may
factory,
say, well, we can
factory or
change the
something
plan.
that hurts
Well,
People already skinnied that out.
like that.
yeah, we tried that.
foods
And
and
there's
stuff,
those,
The executives.
medical at
Yeah,
the
well,
jail.
yeah.
You know, I'm finding
The other
autopsies
63,000.
are
I mean,
costing
think that-
double. You know, I laughed at Tippecanoe County, they took 25,000 out of their autopsy line, and I said, since when are you gonna have less people dying? And they were
Yeah.
like, oh, why do we do that?
Yeah.
And I said, you shouldn't.
Costs more per person.
And so, you know, so those are those, I can sit here and go across this entire room with uncontrollable expenses that you know, that probation, again, coming back to a theater near us.
Yeah.
The user fees aren't keeping up. Okay, so, yeah, you know, and Brad lost his revenue. Have we ever gotten any revenue from the state for level sixes yet this year?
We're starting to get monthly amounts coming in.
How much we get?
I think they're roughly about 90,000. I can't
Okay,
Can't
so we
remember
might
what
be
all-
at a million, but we're not gonna be back to the old days.
Well, and I think they
So
started
we
in
already
July.
lost that.
EDAs.
Yeah.
too.
We have
That would be
EDAs.
counted for anywhere.
I got a question that,
Well, we kind of
and
took
it,
it into account.
it's only because I don't really understand the property tax portion of this scenario, okay? Because
Of Senate
this,
Bill 1?
yeah, this is all income tax.
Yes.
But when you talk about the property tax side, we do GO bonds every year. And we've done that to maintain rates, okay? Because and to fix things and keep things like they're supposed to be, and it maintains our rate. Okay, if not, then our rate falls. So when they screw with the property taxes, is it going to be beneficial for us to continue the GO bond scenario, or not beneficial to us because it changes the rate down and they're wanting to cut the rates anyway?
Okay, so let me answer your question. It's not black, and it's not white. Okay, here's how. If our tax rate gets to 3%, everybody's at their cap. You issue a GO bond that costs $500,000. The $500,000 is going to create circuit breaker down the food chain, all the way.
Okay,
So I'm thinking the GO scenario going forward
it's going to go away.
is going to go away,
That's
and you're probably gonna go back to, which we didn't even account for here, GO supported by LIT, paid by LIT.
And
Kind of
they'll-
like you showed the Justice Center, the hypothetical Justice Center rate.
There you go.
and they're gonna let us do that, because at one time they didn't wanna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I just saw was, we were trying to do Hendricks County's $50 million, $20 million bond issue for Ronald Reagan Parkway. There were more schools than ever before in the market, and they were running towards the tax rate again. You know, so Jeff's gonna hear this and tell, you know, and they're going to be livid again, because there were people doing GOs for no darn reason, and, you know, here we go again. And so, that's why I'm saying, Ken, it's not black and white, because we got, between now and 3%, there's some room, okay? But the game may get changed again. And remember, that's why we're doing 3.5 or 5.5 year GO and things like that. But I think the strategy, if you have to have an annual, it's going to be managing it through your LIT-AGI.
So you need room within our 1.2 to do that.
Bingo.
Seems like the HEDC needs to focus their energy on attracting certain job types.
Either that or build border wall between the
Well, we're not.
Hamilton now, not
We're not
Marion?
getting anything from that.
I mean, seriously.
Okay.
You know?
So
We might have
wouldn't
to,
build a road, let's put it
we
this
might
way.
have to do it ourselves.
I wouldn't build a really good
know.
road out of my county right now.
No.
Okay.
Somebody might live in Timbuktu and say, I want to work in Hancock County, that AGI didn't count. But if they're like, oh my God, it's going to take me an hour, maybe I should just stay in Hancock County.
Greg, I think we're brain dead.
Oh, okay.
I'm good. We can
Yeah.
keep going.
So
I'm
this
good.
is when the judge pulls out, what?
No, you're fine.
The judges, the
It's
judge
a
will
recess.
advise you
It's
that
almost-
your
It's a
time has
recess.
expired.
Oh, sorry,
Time
It's
is
a
expired.
and I can't yield it to anybody?
No.
I'll tell you how strange I am. I'm really enjoying this. This is where I lived for a long
I know,
time.
this is fun.
Thank you, yeah.
No, it was.
You want some wrap up?
So
You
the wrap,
weren't to the
the
end.
wrap
wrap
up.
up is,
Conclusion.
number one, the resolution gets run and some movement forward, but the answer is stay tuned. Because what we'll do, this will be I'm gonna break out PSAP a little bit better in here, and this will become SB1. Your next version will be SB2, coming to a theater near you, that will start working on next year.
is the rumor that in this session starting now,
There's a hell of a lot of room.
that this will all change substantially?
Ooh, I'm not thinking that.
Okay.
I'm thinking it will be tweak number 1 to tweak number 864.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. And they'll just keep tweaking it because I have heard them say, oh my God, we didn't think about that. Oh my God, we didn't think about that. What they're doing is they're running these, it's the same thing as 1, 2, 3. Okay? Where do you think 1, 2, 3 circuit breaker came from? It was a hell of a headline. Okay, there wasn't a lot of mathematical calculations to it. Okay, so they
Now
ran
they're
their
doing
big databases. Okay, and they said, okay, here's what we can do, and they ran them backwards, forwards, and sideways. But the database is only as good as the data in the base.
Yeah.
Guess what? I didn't say what happens when Buck Creek has this area, but it helps over here in this area, and it may help over in this area. And oh my God, how are we going to fund these towns? The big issue in here too is the wrap up is that some of these towns are not going to get enough money under the 0.05 split, and you all do not want to be town board presidents. I'm telling you, you don't want to be running your towns, right, Robin?
Yes, my husband, they asked him to be the president next year, and he said no.
He's too
That's a
smart
city.
for that.
That's a city. That ain't town.
I know, Jim.
Yeah, me too. He married me.
So they'll tweak it until they end up with what they had before SB1.
They may tweak. Yeah, right now it's kind of like, maybe the old system didn't work so bad.
Yeah.
They took the link out of it that runs back there, but they took the link out of it. The prime objective was, let's not take these and spread them based upon these wacky property tax levies. That is what this page is all about. This 38% is taking property tax levies and dividing all the income taxes up. They're like, that was the main objective, which sounds probably not bad.
Well, wasn't there other objective? I think what Rhonda was saying is to force, I think the thought is at the state level that there's too much spending. There's inefficient spending at the local level. And they want to try and force some more efficient use of the taxpayer dollars at the local level, which kind of means merging things, consolidating things, like fire.
That may be the opposite, though. When you merge, you may be spending, that's my opinion, when you merge fires, you're gonna spend twice to do what you're doing now.
But see, where I disagree is we know that the Hancock County Council has been very, very frugal for a very, very, very long time on their budgets. Now they start looking at all these other people that technically aren't, and they throw you all in the same basket.
Right.
I think
Right.
that's unfair.
But
Certainly.
the world is not fair.
No, it's not.
You know, it's funny because it seems like
I'm bailed out on
the whole
that.
point is to save people more
big
property
cities that
tax, which
broke.
in theory sounds good. I'm on board with that. But when you think about the deficit moving to income tax, that's on every dollar. There's no standard deductions on that, right, CPA? So if you're a $40,000 dual income household that doesn't own your home, your property tax did not just go down and your income tax just went up. So people who don't own a
If you live in the
home
city,
and low income earners
Major
are
argument.
paying more after SB 1. And then high income earners, if you had a $300,000 house and you get $300 off your taxes and your income tax goes up 1%, you're paying 4 times more income tax than you saved on your property tax. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out where the sweet spot is of who actually nets a benefit.
Well, if you're capped, and you're capped plus, you'll never see the reduction, right? If your property taxes have been capped for 10 years,
This is just like the caps.
and you
Where-
get a
At least 3%
reduction,
a year.
You know,
you're,
the burden
it's
went
gotta
on
go
us.
below the cap. You gotta drop below the cap for you to see anything. So the people that are capped, and everybody's capped, but what, 35% of the county? I mean, 65, 70% of the people are capped. So they're not gonna, unless it drops below what their cap is, they're not gonna see anything.
And there's no savings on the 2 and 3% properties, so not that they would pass it along, but there's no savings for landlords to pass along in rents either, so.
No, they're
I'm not
passing.
sure who benefits the most, but I think it's a really specific segment of the population.
It is. It's
You
it's
own a
the
home and
70
you
plus
don't make much money. Yeah.
And on my closing
It's a 70
just
per-
comment
Oh,
was,
that's good.
it
There's other
almost
groups too.
says, I ought to live in a pup tent and not work too hard because I'm just gonna pay
Yeah.
state, federal, everybody more in local income taxes. So it's, why would I work more harder? Why would
Every
they have a
quarter when
pup
I
tent?
send in estimated taxes, I have that conversation with myself.
I'll leave it at that. Pup tent with, not much work to do.
Do we need a break before
Sure. 10 minutes.
Library's up.
10 minutes?
Do you want 10 minutes for the
Fine.
library and, or not the library, the
No, no, no.
fairgrounds?
Business
and,
owners, it's business owners.
Fair
They
board
gotta
is
make-
next.
they'll do it.
Fair board is next.
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good to keep going.
Income
Fair
tax
board.
got way, way high. I just wouldn't have it.
please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I do have some papers for you. I may be a familiar face in Holly because we've been here multiple times. Holly serves as our president of the Ag Association, and I am currently serving as the vice president. We came to you about, this process started about a year ago. Yeah. I can give you enough. And the reason it started is because we were needing to find a way to find some money to fix our block bathrooms because of a tile breaking between the city sewer and that facility. And that prompted a lot of conversation. What we have passed out to you is what we have done with the first $1 million that you gave us. And we were told that once that $1 million was spent, that we needed to come back and request the other $500 that had been approved by you on February 12th of this year. Probably a lot of information, but we want you to realize that we look at this as a team effort. and that we want you to see that you're getting a return on your dollars that you're investing with us. So some of the things that we have been able to do with those dollars, which we have been able to do more than we originally came for because of projects we got into, some didn't take as much money. We had people that stepped up and could provide us services at a discounted rate, or we were able to find the materials at a much reduced cost than we originally thought. But we were able to fix the bathrooms. That was our original intent. We also were able to do the infrastructure that we needed to update the cattle and swine wash racks. We poured the encroachments going to the restrooms of our new West Commons building. We upgraded asphalt, and what that helped with was drainage. That we have a problem with the pavement that was poured before we ever came on the board is higher than the exhibit hall, and if we have a torrential rain, it floods the exhibit hall. So we thought this was a more cost-efficient way of helping to solve that problem. We also were able to invest in 4 new air conditioners for the exhibit hall. We are still working on safety and security issues, but we were able to do several of those upkeeps. And we were able to install a marquee sign along Apple Street that ours had totally broke, and we were able to refresh the food court roof so it looks better. So far, that amount comes to $979,984. The remaining money, we would like to be able to see if we can go ahead and use that towards the other $500,000 of the projects that we have identified. On that first page, we have given you some of the pictures so you can see the upgrade. One of the things we also bought were new bleachers for the show arena. We did that for multiple reasons. One, for a safety factor, the ones that we had did not have handrails or steps. Several of us that use the facility on a multiple basis could see somebody eventually is going to go tumbling down, and we'd lose a lot more than being able to install new bleachers. We just had our first event using those this past weekend, and the comment was made by several people was how bright now the show arena looks, and it looks clean and new, and the impression is one that we were going for. It'll be used this weekend for our Christmas at the Fair event, so we feel like that was a good investment. What we would like to do with the remaining $500,000 of the forgivable loan is finish the restrooms in the West Commons building. We have been delayed with that because of the city lift station and all the problems that they have had with that. They've had to come back in and dig back up, and so our north side has almost been unusable for quite some time. We have to work around the trenching and all of that. We still would like to upgrade the cattle and swine barn roofs. We've taken a hard look at what that would incorporate, and there's some other things that we need to do in order to get to the roofs, but we have an estimate on that of being $250,000. We are in the process of getting more quotes because there's lots of ideas how to make that better. Those 2 buildings, the cattle barn was built in 1956 and the swine barn in 1957. So those structures were built properly when they were built, and we just now need to do some upkeep to make them last a little longer. We need to do some things to the exhibit hall. One of those, we need to refresh the exterior, but we also need to do some corrections inside and the interior. The floor, and for those of you who don't know, that was the original show arena. They showed in that from about 1962 until the new one was built in 1972. So it has several chips and cracks in the floor. If you're holding a meeting that is non-livestock or non-4-H related, that's been a comment that's made, wish we could do something with the floor. So we would like to paint that with epoxy and seal it so it lasts a little longer. You can see the other things that we would like to do with that. And we do have quotes to fix the floor, epoxy it, the walls, the kitchen floor, and that would come up currently at $73,000. So that is what our vision is for the extra $500, the remaining $500,000. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Do you have anything you want to add, or? The rest of the proposal that I have given you are what we envision for phases 2 and 3. We told you we would come back to you with those. And we would like to refresh the exterior of the exhibit hall and possibly lengthen it. And we'd also like to upgrade the bowl. We've had different ones request that, but it's in major need of upgrading. And then in 27 for phase 3, we envision building a new building where the current food court sits. So we are welcome to answer any questions.
I don't know if you know this off the top of your head or if we got to call in Rob as backup. How many rentals or events or days of use or all that did the fairgrounds have this year or is projected for next year?
We are probably at, 75% on weekends? Yeah. We're trying to upgrade this. All the things that we've asked for is to try to meet some of those rental needs during the week. We feel like those are opportunities that'll increase our cash flow, but we also want to become self-sustaining. And in order to do that, we've got to be able to rent the buildings we have. We feel like so far everything we have done is a return on your investment. We are booking more and more livestock and overnight shows that will, going to the hotels and food and beverage. We hope we can increase that, but we'd also like to be able to provide a facility that there could be possibly small business corporate trainings, and that would help fulfill that middle of the week.
I got to kill you on the tourism board. Not this money, because we've already kind of set this in motion. This money is already set and everything, but are they going to continue to get additional funds and stuff from the tourism board? I know we're getting another new hotel, and some of them came online this year, so that income should increase. Is that going to help in the future with some of the future projects, or?
So and I've only been on the HCTI board since I think March, so I haven't been there all that long yet. But my understanding of it is the fairgrounds has to come apply for a grant like anyone else comes and applies for a grant each year. So to say that they're guaranteed the funds, you know how that goes. Any given board could say, this year we don't want to fund.
Right.
That. I don't believe, I'm not at all of the perception that that's their intention.
Right.
I have taken the temperature occasionally on what the will is to do more than the status quo with the fairgrounds. And some of the, not to speak for the group as a whole, but some of the indication I've been giving is that tourism is intended to, create, enhance, or promote activities or events that create tourism. So making capital investments, especially substantial ones, is not something I would expect tourism to do. Now, if the fairground says, hey, we have this new building and we'd like an extra $25,000 this year to market and promote and build a brochure and send it out, I'm making this up, but to help them generate more interest in their facilities, tourism does have money that they could spend that on.
Okay. I may not totally agree with that enhancing the buildings doesn't increase the tourism. But
I see, I know what you're saying.
But money's fungible. I mean, if their advertising budgets were taken care of, then the money they were spending on advertising could be moved into capital. Go ahead, Greg.
Remember, the 2 new hotels that are coming are paying off the developer
Yeah.
bonds on the new conference center.
Right, and so the innkeeper tax goes to that?
Yes.
Only on that hotel.
Only on those. There's
Only on
another,
the
there's
hotel.
another hotel in Greenfield being built.
That one's not bonded against. That
Right.
would, that will net revenue to
Right.
tourism when it,
Well, there's another Marriott going in Greenfield.
Right. Spring Hill
And
Suites.
that one's,
Campus.
right, but the
we're
one
gonna
out there
have 2
at
event
Gateway that's captured already.
The first one and the second one. are
Okay.
also.
I asked Bridget a few months ago how many hotel rooms we had in present, and it was under 700 in the county. As Greg mentioned, one of those big hotels is not for a long time gonna net anything to the bottom line because of paying off the convention center. But in town, in Greenfield, that is not the case. Those will net positive when they're online and create substantially more rooms.
But it does Airbnb
And
pay?
Airbnb as well. Mhm.
And that's been an increase over the last few years because we didn't have Airbnb when we set up the
Correct.
innkeeper's tax.
Yes, and I wish I was better prepared to answer the question. We talked recently about how much a month Airbnb makes up of the take, and it used to be nothing, and now it's notable.
Okay. Only reason I was talking about tourism too is because, okay, so we're granting these projects as they come, as we can, okay?
Correct.
But we also see future projects, and if there is monies to be captured now with ideas that you already have, then you can speed up the future projects too. Me personally, not enough tourism dollars goes to the fairgrounds. And not in comparison to the amount of tourism in the county, what goes. Because we've all done the phones where the majority of the people coming from out of county come to, we track that, we do all that, and 68, I think last we figured out 68 or 70% come to the fairgrounds, but they're not getting 68 or 70% of the tourism funds.
Well, something else you need to think about, though, and Debbie can speak to this, and I'm not saying it's right-sized, that's a matter of
Right.
individual opinion, and I'm obviously a fan of improving the fairgrounds. But individual events that are taking place at the fairgrounds apply for money and come separately from the fairgrounds themselves. So like Debbie
Right.
is a leader in the sheep show, right? And so she comes and applies for money to promote and enhance the sheep show. So there is more money that goes to what's
Right.
happening there than what you see as a direct payment to them. Not to say that there's not room for more.
Right.
Yeah, and also, I probably should have said this in the beginning. We're not just relying on what we've presented to you. We are in the process of trying to come up with a major fundraising campaign that will help us buy pens,
Yeah.
new pens, tables, chairs, all those things that always seem like they break at the wrong time. I've applied for a couple of grants. So far, those have been denied because it doesn't fit specific, but I'm still looking. We are also, we have talked to tourism. Tourism has identified us as the number one, contributor with the hotels. I will tell you with the event that Keely's talking about, we had 800 head of sheep from 15 different states for 4 days of, hotel space. And we didn't have enough. We had people had to go to Indianapolis because our event hit the same weekend as a race over at Newcastle and the Brickyard. So
Well-
the addition of a new hotel will,
You're also a generator of food and beverage.
correct.
Everybody who comes into for all this, they have to eat somewhere. And so you're also generating food. We're taking a lot of this out of food and beverage. It's not no ways near an even thing, but you're also generating income with those people also. And our food and beverage, I mean, I think I'm funding it myself. I paid $28 for 2 kids' meals at Culver's the other day.
Oh, my gosh.
Just two grandkids meals, $28. I mean,
gosh.
our food and beverage must be getting ready to explode.
Over $2
because
million.
They're charging twice what they did a couple years ago, so,
But we-
okay.
With everything that we've presented you, we wanted to be upfront, so where our vision was, that we're no longer just going to try to maintain, we're going to try to improve.
Right.
And generate those dollars that'll help us be self-sufficient and be the place people look forward to coming to in Hancock County for a big event. And then I think we all win, just as you've talked about with the innkeeper's tax and the food and beverage tax.
I have a clarifying question for Greg. Greg, refresh my memory. So this first investment was done on a forgivable loan with the understanding that future investments would be out to public bid.
Well, they would be under general obligation bonds in the future, which would require them per bond council to be a public bid.
Okay. And in this most recent GO bond that just sold at market, was the fairgrounds in that one?
Million.
For 1 million.
Right.
And that was to reimburse the
Yes.
funds that we had already used, not in addition to.
Originally, we were gonna put 1.5 million in there, but the commissioners said they needed the money for buildings. So it's,
And so at
It's on
this
there.
point, they've got, call it $20,000 left in that million. If we look at new projects, food and beverage has been reimbursed from the last GO bond sale. So if we were to say, okay, the next $500,000 go, where does that leave us?
Yeah. It leaves us tapping food and beverage and being restrictive with food and beverage in 26. Somewhat. Unless we find another place.
Okay, restrictive in food and beverage, how? That we're not gonna have a $2 million balance?
Well,
be 1.5 million.
We're only gonna have $1.5 million balance?
What's our 26 appropriation first? And then we go to our fund report that
Oh, I think
Jim
it's over
presented
two.
this morning.
Yeah.
So,
But
Depends
what
on
I was
over our
talking
expenses,
about
we have to be
is
careful.
appropriation wise.
Yeah, but we don't,
And
it's
then
overrunning
we'll
us.
talk cash.
You know what I mean?
A little bit, right now.
and then
It's because of what you just said.
I would think we would do it
again.
again
Yeah.
from food and
Actually, it's
beverage
growing
with the stipulation that we'll replace it from the next GO bond. Or maybe we can take it from the 25 GO bond if we can talk the commissioners into
Well,
not spending
okay.
3.5 million on the buildings.
or we could,
We have to also remember what he just spoke about an hour ago, which is GO bonds may not be an option in a couple years, or in a few years. It's questionable.
Well,
But
I
this would be
I would
now.
say if we were gonna take it from future GO bonds, if we end up doing that, okay? We have the 500,000 to fulfill the original grant or whatever, the original, we have that already in food and beverage, and we could spend that today, and then this portion would be done. But if we're gonna go into future bonds, then why not? I mean, if we're gonna talk about that next year, then why aren't we talking about 1 million to go to phase 2 instead of phase 1?
And I think I would go one step further, Kent. I think what you need to look at is how do we fund 26 and 27 and be done?
Right.
Because I think, we may be having limited bites at the apple in the future.
Right.
And, in Hendricks County, I'm reauthorizing their tax rate to rebuild their fairgrounds. It's almost, does it just need to be a bond for the fairgrounds, or do we put it in? But you probably need to put 26 and 27 together.
well, and here, I hate to go out on a totally different branch, but we had a conversation here recently about economic development funds.
Yes.
Are any of our economic development funds eligible to be used on fairgrounds improvements? Scott?
Well, I think that that is broad enough. The term economic development's broad
Absolutely.
enough. And I was, I looked at that and I'm going to report to you guys. I think because it's not defined specifically, home rule is going to apply, so it's going to be construed in a more liberal manner as opposed to strict. So certainly tourism is economic development.
Yeah.
It comes within those auspices. So to answer this question, yes. And also to answer the previous question, I believe that that's exactly what we can expect.
Because we have the data at tourism to show how many people come from out of town, that go to the fairgrounds, that drive back to their hotel. We can tell where they came from, where if they went to a restaurant before or after. And the tourism, long before I was involved, had a study done of some sort that used data to hypothesize how much economic total benefit there is from each visitor by the time they go out to eat 5 times and they stay 3 nights in the hotel and blah, blah, blah. And I don't have any of that. It was before my time, but they'd have some data on hypothetically what each visitor is worth. And so I think there's probably plenty of financials to back up that economic development does occur from.
Yeah.
Well, the eat,
Ask me a second. What instead of food and beverage, it would be or C.
Economic development, yeah.
Now, keep in mind that, this is something for us to kind of think about in 26. If we floated a fairgrounds bond by itself, okay, and we said it's a GO bond, you could annually appropriate enough food and beverage year to make the payment so it isn't on the property tax roll, and you can leverage the food and beverage over the next 10, 15 years.
But
See what I'm doing?
you think that a bond specific to the fairgrounds is all the same in every way to issuing a GO bond? Or if GO bonds, as was said, get tighter, does issuing a bond specific to the fairgrounds have? Is there,
we've got other needs. Don't forget, we're financing the radios. That's about $800,000 a year. We're also financing now the sheriff's cars, about $600,000 or $800,000 a year.
He's saying
And
higher.
so there's money that we have kind of in our minds earmarked for GO.
Right.
So
Which may become lit funds.
Right.
now,
No, in the future, 28, 29.
28 or 29.
But
we're talking.
I agree that
Closer to
if
that.
we go ahead and grant the rest of this project, which we've already, agreed to once, and then say that that is capable of being, if we need it, reimbursed on the next GO bond. But then when we talk about the next GO bond, I think in the mix, we need to talk about phase 2 and 3. And then we can determine, because that's a 6 or 8 month, or 6 months from now conversation. But they need the funds now to complete the rest of the thing before next summer. So,
So I think it would be a just the process that we're going through right now, that we've started.
right.
That's what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if there needs to be a motion made, I would move that we approve the 500,000 out of food and beverage with the auspices that it would,
We
and on the next GO bond,
we have to do a thumbs up and advertise.
Oh, we have to
well,
advertise.
and we
No,
have to pass a resolution.
Oh, we
Let's
don't,
do a check here. The food and beverage for 26, because this would be 26.
Yes, oh yeah.
you
We're
would-
going to have 750,000 in the miscellany. Huh? In the miscellany?
Appropriation.
Yes, appropriation.
So we've got 2.1 in cash.
Okay.
We got 750 in appropriation.
Okay.
So in 2026, January 5th or whatever,
Okay.
the first meeting, we we would not have to do an additional out of food and beverage at this point in time. We would be able to do that. Now, if you are doing you with me?
Yes, I'm with you. I was wondering if we should do an additional appropriation for it and then grant it in January, or,
Well, the window for additional appropriations,
Is
for all
over.
practical purposes.
okay,
Because you gotta advertise it and things like that.
Right.
So that window's closed.
Okay.
That window's closed, so we move over to 2026. We don't need an additional yet. You can work on that later if you need it, once you use the 750. Then I would highly recommend you approve the reimbursement resolution that Ice Miller has done before.
okay.
At that same time, because these are hard materials, so you want that reimbursement resolution from the federal government standpoint
Okay.
that you did it all with the intent from day one.
So Scott could bring the reimbursement resolution to a January meeting, and we can pass that before you.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
that should be your motion, to align those together. and
Okay,
move it
that we-
into
So we
That-
just pay the 500,000 from food and beverage, and we'll reimburse ourselves from the next.
Well, I think you don't
Right.
agree to pay the 500 from food and beverage until you've voted on your reimbursement resolution,
Yeah,
right?
you have to draft the resolution, yeah.
Do
Yeah,
that first.
I don't think you're doing a vote today.
You don't do a vote today.
You're doing a thumbs up, and that's what you'll do in January.
Will you do it in
And
January,
that
or you
works
do
for
it?
you guys.
January.
You can't have the resolution by next week, right?
No, it's January, because we're done.
And then,
And then we
and then they would come back.
I think the real question is also how to handle the phase 2
What's
and
the
phase 3. You guys start
timing,
working on
given
that.
these
Right,
other
that's what I said. That's a 6
factors
month
for
from now.
coming
It's-
back?
I know, but you gotta start working on it.
Yes,
To
yeah,
talk.
yes.
You gotta figure it out.
We need
You
to
don't wanna-
have the
but I
other
think it's possible.
inputs, start the inputs for
you wanna
the
do another bond,
the next
right.
GO bond.
Because remember,
Yeah.
everybody.
Five-year
up here's gonna
capital.
When will that
plan.
conversation
Maybe I'm the only one might
So
be still
we don't
here.
need them
Well,
back
next year,
for
nobody
26
changes.
Yeah, but the year after,
27.
you
The
lose
year
3
after.
people.
Yeah,
We just need to deal with, on the council level, whether you want to do it that way,
2 or 3.
and where you want to put it in. Do you want to absorb it within the next GO, or have it stand alone, or whatever? But, and do we want to include 26 and 27? But as closer we get to 28 or 29, I would get your GOs somewhat out of the way.
okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have
you.
questions for us based on that conversation?
It's gonna be January before we can grant it, because we don't have the resolution. but
Because
we'll
I know
grant
that the process that we went through, we didn't get the actual dollars of the million
it. Right.
until April. So what is this process?
But we have the money appropriated now.
Yes.
It'd be January.
It'd be January.
We would have a check in January
January.
to be able to
As
go
long as a
forward.
resolution and a motion.
As long as
Right.
everything passes, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what,
Yeah, the 500,000.
And with the same reporting requirements of the past.
Does that run on the claim schedule? So if we hit this in one of the January meetings, then does it fall to a claim schedule for getting paid, or is it one-off?
I can pay it whenever.
Okay,
They
so
can
by the
always-
end of the month safely, they will have
All
it.
right.
They can
So-
always
If
do,
if we vote to approve it in January.
they can
And
always do an
then
extra.
we'll do an additional appropriation to
They
put more
like it,
money in
but
the
they can't.
fund after we do that in January.
And it-
Because there'll only be
what-
200,000
What month of
left.
2026 would initial
50,
discussions begin about another GO bond?
February, March, capital improvement plan.
So that discussion will continue right
We-
after.
I wouldn't be surprised if 2026 isn't our last one, unless legislature changes. And
Will be on January.
so we do need to fix what we can and get it over with. Going to have a major change in the amount of people that's on the council too, next couple of years.
Debbie, any other inputs?
do you have any other questions for us? We appreciate the support
No,
that
thank
you're
you.
giving us because we've,
Thanks for
it's
coming.
investment in the
Well,
community.
I think you've done everything we've asked you to do. You know what I mean? And I like the idea that you come back and tell us what's happening and this and that, and and nobody's scared to come back and be rejected again. Okay, because that's not the purpose. The purpose, we said it earlier, if we don't have amenities, if we don't keep up with something in our county, we can't bring the people in that we need for the tax base. And so,
Yeah, the fairgrounds just went too long with no annual investment made in the maintenance and upkeep, because everybody thought forever it'll move, it'll move, it'll
Well-
move. And you compound 10, 15, 20 years of no funding real
the
property.
worst thing
it's-
that happened was when they give up their tax rate. That was the worst thing that happened, when they give their tax rate
Because
up.
it was so small.
And Jim
all
might
the
have
way
been on
through
the board
county.
back then, I don't know, it was like 40 years ago, but if they wouldn't have
40
given their
years.
tax rate up,
No, I wasn't, but I
That was when my
disagree
father
with
and
that.
Walt Wade was on the board, and they did it because the county asked.
I know, I understand that they
So
were
they
being
were
good, they
trying
were
to be
being
team
good
players.
stewards, but then later on, nobody wants to reciprocate.
Right.
We would have taken it away in 2010, believe me.
You might have, because,
When you were looking for a loan to make payroll?
And we were too.
but
Much for
Thank you for coming.
hearing our issues and supporting us, and just
Take it.
know what else we need to do.
thank you.
Yeah, come back, in January, the conversation will continue.
Yep, we'll,
Do they need to come,
Take it.
do they need to be here?
No, but if they want to be in the audience, it's fine.
10-minute break.
All right, thank you very much.
The battles at night
Who are
I
we
had with all
missing?
that.
Is Tammy gone?
She had to leave.
Okay. So we're all here.
Okay, Talitha Coombe and Church of God, right?
Talitha Coombe.
Talitha Coombe first. If you want to do any intro, I'll do it.
Okay.
Good morning.
Go together.
Yeah, well, you guys can come up, and I did want to make mention to the council, just for clarity, because I've had to dig to keep track of what's happening with the opioid thing. You remember that the state said there was a $500,000 match opportunity. The county sent a letter of intent to the state. Bill Spalding confirmed for me on Monday afternoon that they only received one application for that because of all the strings that were attached that were going to disqualify the church in Talitha Coombe. They only received one application. It was from Aspire, who is partnering with Progress House now, and so that is their only one to consider. The commissioners will decide whether or not they are going to apply to the state with that application. So 500 of the 1.1 million that's in opioid balances right now is currently earmarked for that unless the commissioners decide not to move forward. So that leaves 600 left presently up for discussion. I want to make sure everybody, I don't think everybody had that information. I had to really bug people along the way to keep up with it, so.
And the 500 could not be used for what we're talking about today?
If the commissioners move forward with accepting Aspire's application, 500 of the 1.1 is spoken for.
Okay, okay.
And then if the state,
Something else.
if they do move forward and apply to the state, but the state does not award them the match, the application was written as such as that entity is not guaranteed the county's 500,000 if the state doesn't match it. And it would be back on the table.
Can you clarify for me who Aspire is, just real quick?
Yes, so Aspire is a health entity, much like, Hancock Health or something. And Progress House partnered with them years ago for sustainability, honestly, financial sustainability. And they have kind of incorporated Aspire into their recovery house programming. And so Aspire is also now our community behavioral mental health facility. Remember, we were giving 400-some thousand a year to Gallahue. Gallahue left. Aspire is our new, what is it?
New Gallahue.
MC, whatever the acronym is.
Our new Gallagher.
And they have applied for the 500 and asked the county to submit a 500K match app for them to build men's recovery housing. And so that leaves us with what's left there for now. And
600,000.
Talitha Coombe and the church both came, I believe it was in March or April, to talk about the need, and they both did not qualify or apply for that 500K opportunity. And so they're both back today to revisit it.
Yes, so well, I appreciate you guys letting us come back this morning. Of course, you know me, and I want to introduce Amy to you. Amy, can you say?
Sure. My name is Amy Berman, Executive Director for Partnership. 20 years in the market rate housing sector, and then Partnership for Affordable Housing, build affordable housing throughout Indiana. And then we also do some gifting and now build anything strictly for men or for women with state funds. So we're looking at a grant or match. Ground up and also so we're going to wherever we can.
Yeah. So Talitha, that's why we came this morning, our grant is asking for $250,000. We have some funding in the bank, and also with Amy coming alongside of us, if we could get the $250,000 to then secure either something to rehab or build on, that we would begin the process of doing that for our women to transition. It's the next step of success for our ladies, and also in turn, it's successful to the organization itself because it helps us be sustainable with funding for the funds that the ladies pay for their rent and be able to, move forward in looking at it. And it also helps us to be able to graduate them and help them get out a little bit faster than 2 years from the house. So that's why we came this morning, and we wanted just to, we're thankful that you guys would allow this process, and we just are asking, would you see the next step for us for the $250,000?
If I can, I think, there's a long application that you all have, but
Yes.
For this sort of secondary transition, we're talking about transition to they're working. I know sometimes they're working and going to school, they're visiting with their kids again, so they're the grocery store, they're contributing to the local economy, they're actually paying a portion of this rent. It's just that with either a felony or credit issues, they can't rent a traditional apartment. So one, it's a financial issue, but two, they have these marks that have to burn off over time. So providing them, hoping to provide them something where they're paying rent, they're helping with utilities. Like I said, they're going through all of the motions of living independently before they can transition into something.
Linda, what's the total cost of what you're talking about?
Well,
I came up with 750,000.
Yeah.
So what's I guess how much help is the 250?
Well,
other than
at least
the
it would get
obvious?
us to say that we have a match for other grant opportunities. Like Okra had a grant for exactly 750,000, but we had to have a match from the county or the city that we were in, and that was not done a while back. So we didn't have time to apply for that grant with our grant writer, and so we had to let that grant go. So I think that 250 just puts us on the map to be able to tell other people, we have this from the county, we can match this, we
would also
match. And so we're just trying to put the money together so then we can go out and really do something.
Yeah, that Okra grant, had Talitha Coombe made this request and it been approved even 30 days prior, there'd be an application going in this week for $750,000 to Okra that is specifically to build transitional housing.
Yeah.
But when they come out with these grants, I mean, hey, guess what? This thing's coming, it's due in 6 weeks. Well, that's not enough time to get through government from scratch. And government has to not only say there's opioid dollars in it, but they also have to put their name on the application as, applying on behalf of, basically. And so there's just no time without any allotment for them to apply for anything that comes up from a state agency.
How many people are going to be in each house? Like, right now, I think it's like 9 in your Toledo home house. Is this just a single-family house? Is this a duplex? And then where's it going to be located?
Well, we don't have the property yet.
Okay.
So we're still looking, and we've looked at several, but also several have been bought from after we've looked at them. I mean, they go quickly. But also, so 2 of our girls just transitioned out. They had to rent something together to be able to afford it. And then also, I go and meet with those landlords and kind of put my name out there, like they're able to pay this. So it's $1,400 for a 2.5 bedroom with a loft. And so they get their kids every weekend. So they're just transitioning back into be the mother. So it could be 2 people into an apartment, but we hope that it goes to 1 and they are able to get their kids in there. Or they could share. It could be 2, no more than 2. They're not going to leave a 9-bed home where they've lived communally with 9 people to go live back in 3 and 4 people home. They want to transition
No,
to.
I meant like the house would be a duplex.
Oh, yeah, we hope. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
a triplex.
sorry.
or-
Yes.
We looked at some duplexes and tries, but
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, plus units and
Yes.
very
That's what I
close to
meant.
the house, they've got this sense of community there. I know they have the same. So we want to try to keep that sense of community.
And are most of these in Greenfield that you're looking at, or?
Yes,
Okay.
in Greenfield.
Okay.
Because that's where they're working. And so, and, you know, they're, if they can stay where they're working and their kids are able then to come here, then it's good. And they're not shipping back out to areas where they came from, the majority of our, you know, people.
And the ask for 250, I mean, when they came earlier this year, they were asking substantially more. There's not a magic number on it, right? The more money you have, the more units you can take down. It's just the way it's gonna pencil out. And so as much as they could use a dozen units, it's hard to come up with all that money at once. So can they get 6 units? And then, you know, a few years from now, can they use those rents to purchase additional units? But I think one of the most important things that I would mention, and again, for the record, for the umpteenth time, I am a volunteer board member and current board chair of Talitha-Coombe. I'll recuse myself from any votes, even though I derive no personal benefit in any allocation to real estate causes me a lot of extra volunteer hours. But I think some of you were here on this board back when Talitha-Coombe was founded, and you remember making an initial investment and all the effort that went into creating Talitha-Coombe. And you guys know I'm a numbers person, and what it all comes down to after 3 years on the board is that if you want Talitha-Coombe to be sustainable long-term, one of two things has to happen. You have to have what we have now, which is about 10 people every year working around the clock, week after week on a volunteer basis, killing themselves to raise nearly $250,000 a year from undetermined sources on an ongoing basis. Or you need to build in recurrent revenue streams to the program that at least partially sustain it and lower that fundraising obligation on the volunteer board. And the only ways that I've been able to deduce they can do that is to have something like a thrift store, kind of like the Hope House does, or to have apartment housing that women can transition to as the next step, and they still pay rent. And that rent, as long as TK doesn't have a mortgage, is positive cash flow to help sustain the program they already have. So this is as much about building sustainability into Talitha-Coombe's program and as an entity. It's half that, and it's half solving for what is currently the biggest issue, which is people are staying up to 2 years because they can't afford to leave.
You know, I don't think any of us gonna have an issue. The question's gonna be, we have, sounds like $600,000 to use to the best of our ability and wisely of this funds from the federal government. And so there's a couple options, I guess. And so you have to figure out where best to allocate it, I guess.
Yes, yeah, and I invited the church, or the sheriff to invite the church back today to give you an update on their request, because they were in the same boat as Talitha-Coombe. They came, they said they wanted to build something. Everybody said, let's see this state match thing. It didn't get followed well. You find out way down the line that neither of these projects qualify for that. We've already earmarked money for it and have a different applicant for it that wasn't part of the original discussion. And so now we're back kind of at square one in April. Krista, I can't see, Pastor, do you guys want to comment on your project as well and where you stand today? And
Well, we're about $135 in the church itself invested in it. Purchased the property. We've got our prints. Matter of fact, I brought a set of those with me. We're shovel ready. We already own the property. I know that, you know, the 250,000, you talked about what was remaining. 250,000 would be ginormous for us to move forward. We went ahead and re-looked at duplexes, and we are building a duplex, and we're housing 8 men with happening for transitional housing. And again, as they have already said, housing in Greenfield is at a premium. When men come out, they don't have hygiene products, they don't have clothes, they don't have food. Some of them don't even have a job by the time that they are released. And it's not everyone that we're looking at. It's the ones that's gone through the programs that the sheriff makes available for them to help them with opioid and alcohol addiction. Those are the ones that are going to be presented to us, and then housing those 8 men. There is a minimal charge per month, and that's how we're trying to sustain it. The same situation that Linda is working, striving toward having duplexes or triplexes, so it couldn't become self-sustaining. We're launching from the launch pad with that in mind, but it's such a minimal amount. We're talking $375 a month for a room. That's extremely palatable, if I could use that terminology.
For the room or for the house?
$375 a month per person for the room itself. So we're looking at sponsors to sponsor someone when they first come out because they have nothing, and it could take up to a month before they even get their first paycheck. And we're trying to keep that even at a minimum. So our desire is just capital launch funds. $250,000 would catapult us forward huge in what we need. We went back, looked at some duplex plans and got a material list and was able to do one a little less expensive than the original plans that we were looking at. Kind of hearing through the grapevine some adjustments that were having to be made because of that $500,000 having to be set aside for the match funds. And so we asked ourselves, okay, what can we do? It was fairly substantial on the material list itself. We are trying our best to try to get a meeting with F.A. Wilhelm, largest general contractor here in Indiana, to see if they would partner with us, maybe some volunteers that would come and assist in the facility as far as building and construction, the electrical and things that needs to be accomplished and done. If they jump on board, I mean, that's just a no-brainer for us. That's going to, again, set things forward pretty quick. But, I mean, man, just a thumbs up today launches this thing.
So what kind of total do you need? Just curious.
For us to furnish the home, the $250,000 won't complete it. We're probably going to be pushing three and a quarter total to furnish it.
It would do construction.
$250,000 will build the facility,
So
almost.
So
We're dealing with right now the city sewer, because we are in the county, we're on septic systems.
yeah.
We have to facilitate a brand-new septic system. So what we're doing is we're talking to your guys, the city's septic folks, and they're open to us doing grinder pumps and tapping, being able to go ahead and tap in. But we, right around 35,000 was the last quote that they had done. So there's going to be a little fluctuation there.
So
Well,
another.
and there's, you know, if, both of these projects obviously cost more than $250 a piece. I
Right,
think
right.
everybody's trying to play well together and
right.
make everybody's projects possible by asking for $250, but they obviously need more and could do more and create more
So wait a minute,
space.
we've got,
We've got
if
2
it's
million in
simple-
food and beverage if you're
I know,
looking
but
beyond
we got,
opioid
it's
money.
simple math in the opioid money of 1.1, is that right?
Well, subtract 500K
Yes,
because it's
So
expired.
then we have 6. Why would we keep any in it?
I wouldn't keep any in it myself.
So that's 3 and 3. So why wouldn't we give them each 3? We don't have 5 other projects up here that's going to benefit to this level.
We
I
did.
I supported Talitha Coombe from the start. Jim and I
Yes.
dug
you
money
have.
out of everything to get money from the start. And I agree that we don't have a men's thing. And it's, that project is important also. So, I mean, for me, it's simple math. Why would we keep money in there? We take the
Well,
6
you're gonna
and
get another
men's-
$250,000 a year, give or take.
Right,
also.
so
Yeah,
why don't we
I
get rid of
agree
what we
with that.
got so it goes to work instead of it just sitting in the county coffers?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what
we had
I
an
thought.
open,
We ought to
do we have an
split
open
it.
application process on this?
It's, well, you and Tammy were supposed to be on a
Yeah,
committee.
and we did. We met once.
Yeah, that I didn't think ever met.
No, we did. We met
And
once.
then I harassed Bill Spalding to keep me in the know. Oh, very nice. And-
we are not opposed to doing $100 apiece. Am I correct, Linda?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
No, thank you.
Say no, we will
I
only
actually think, though, that one of the big builders that we've spent $30 to $50 million with over the last few years should partner with somebody too.
Absolutely. Who
Because
is
we
that?
built a new jail and we spent millions and millions and
Are you talking about Aspire?
no, I'm talking about.
about builder
I'm
to do it
talking
for-
about F.A. Wilhelm or construction companies. All of these people took us for millions. RQAW,
Sure.
FA, I mean, you know.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
and I'm not I think you guys should tap into that.
Absolutely.
Hey, Hancock County's been really good for you people.
Yes.
And why aren't you doing more to help the community?
And that was one of the avenues that we were going with Wilhelm, because one of our board members does work with Wilhelm and has, you know,
If you want to go back 30 years, 1986, F.A. Wilhelm built the first factory in Greenfield.
Yes.
It was called IPT.
yes.
Okay, so they've been taking a lot of money from Hancock County for a lot of years.
Absolutely, and that's definitely an angle that we're working, Mr. Fix, and we appreciate that. I want to go back to Mr. Shelby's question of, you know, where are we? What is our plan? So we have blueprints here. We've revisited numbers based on, you know, not getting the first round of funds and kind of, you know, going back and having to rework. We have submitted the application. Anthony Scott submitted that application. We have formed the 501c3. We've started accepting funds from our congregation, as well, as minimal as they are, you know, to try and get that seed money. We have the rental property that we've already placed a family in, that are in a contract with us for a minimum of a year. The property is within 2 years of being paid off now, and that rental money is going to pay for the property. So if we could get this capital investment from this grant application, whatever we want to call this, from this board committee, we have everything, and we've made the movement. It's not just a vision anymore. We're there. We just need that capital investment to be, and honestly, we need it to be able to get more money. And I'm sure, you know, they can contest to that as well. When people see that it's real, that's when they're willing to give you more money.
Do we need a commissioner's approval?
Yeah, I think you would.
Not on opioid funds.
Not on
Well,
That was on ARPA.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
My concern would, I can't imagine they wouldn't be on board.
Well, I
But it
mean,
might just be something that you might.
Well, let me tell you the only thing that bothers me about that is that nothing said it's, the ARPA money specifically said it was Board of Commissioners planning. Opioid money does not. And the only thing that bothers me about that is that back in March and April, when we talked about this, we formed a committee that was supposed to explore all our options and create processes and project it all over town and get every possible application in the county, and none of that happened. And now the applications don't go to the committee because there wasn't enough time left in the window. So they were due Monday, and the commissioners immediately had to turn them over, and then the commissioners will vote on those applications, which there was only one, without ever bringing it back before council and getting our opinion. And that was never the way any of that was supposed to work. And honestly, I should have sat on the committee because I'm the most familiar with this, and I tried to stay away from it because I am the most familiar with it. And in turn, we've ended up with a process where nobody knew about it. I called the sheriff. There was a 30-day application window with the county, and I called the sheriff a weekend, and despite being at all these meetings, he had absolutely no idea the application was open in a 30-day window.
Well,
so I told him, get
I
with the
think we've
church.
done enough
So
due
turning this
diligence
into,
on
well,
the
we need other
projects.
permission, I don't agree with that at all, given the way it's gone so
Yeah, I think
far.
we've done enough due diligence for the community on the projects. I mean, that was 6 months ago that we started the process, or longer. And if we don't have
the same
more
two people.
it's too late now. You know what I mean? I think we've done our due diligence.
As a courtesy, we ought to do that. But I have a question. I know about Talitha Coombs' management and longevity, but Scott, could you kind of fill us in? You are the minister,
I'm
right?
the pastor, yes.
The pastor. So
Sorry,
what?
that was my maiden last name, threw me off.
I'm in the Methodist Church, and I know we turn the pastors about every 5 years. So what's the setup of the Church of God?
With the Church of God, they don't relocate. It's literally up to the pastor on relocation, and he has to go ahead and ask concerning that and put his name out for an overseer, is how our setup, to look for the possibility of a relocation for him within the state. I've been in Indiana all my life. I've never lived anywhere else. I've never pastored anywhere else, and I've been pastoring for 35 years. I have been at the Greenfield Church for the last 8 years. I will retire from here.
Yes.
Our home is in Hancock County. I live out off of 500.
Well, I'm glad the Church of God does that, because I left the Methodist Church because every 5 years they shifted a new person in.
Here we go.
And I was like,
I'll take you to your church.
I had kids and stuff, and they go, "Who's this new person?" and all this. I
Great,
said,
come on to our
"We're not
service
doing
on
that no
Sunday,
more. We're not
10:30.
shifting pastors every 2 or 3 years. That's ridiculous."
We'll have to vet you.
Well, you develop a relationship,
I'm just concerned that
and Methodists
Valid
are there.
question. I can
Crazy.
tell you, I have attended that church since I was born. I was dedicated. My grandmother and my great aunt were the founding fathers of that church.
and you're only 20.
Exactly. So only 20 years. No, so I have been attending that church for 43 years. Probably in my younger years, just a little bit of backsliding that happened, but I am, I'm a tithing member that has been there. My family is as well. My brother is, he's an associate pastor at the church. My father is an elder. So either way, I can tell you, I can count on one hand how many pastors I've had at that church.
Can I ask you, did I read it right in your application? It sounds like you guys are going to have a nonprofit entity separate from the church.
So the church is going to own the asset.
Yes.
And the 501c3 is going to, City of is going to manage and do the operations.
And then you're going to
Yeah,
get a
total-
level 1
the total
DMHA
amount.
certification.
Yes.
So my
Or,
point,
you know
I
what I
guess,
mean?
is just,
All three
even if the
projects.
pastor did change every 5
Correct.
years, you have a nonprofit, you have a nonprofit
Right.
board,
Yes.
and you have a
Completely separate.
certification to be audited on annually, and that will be a functioning entity of its
Yes.
own, essentially.
Absolutely.
And our board requirements for that 501c3 are 51% church member seated. We were asking for one seat to be fulfilled by the sheriff himself or herself, where, I don't know the rules, sorry, for what sheriff requirements are. And then, obviously, other community members. And at this time, our board is only church members.
Well, yeah, you're way early in the
we're
game.
very
I
young,
would
so-
like to make a motion that we not only agree to the 300,000 for each of these projects, we also agree to the Aspire, so that the commissioners and them can go on with trying to get their match. And that covers the whole fund. And, because I think, we do want the commissioners to agree to it too. We don't want them to come back and say, no, this is the worst thing that ever happened. I mean, they're not gonna do that, but we want to agree to, and they need, I don't know if they need our approval or not to go on with Aspire, but, we can agree to that at the same time.
Well, could we vote on this and make it contingent on approval by the commissioners? So we could go ahead and get it going?
Yeah, and they have a meeting next week.
Next week?
No.
No, it's
No.
in
They
2
just
weeks.
had
It's
one.
2 weeks. Well, they have a meeting in 2 weeks, so
But can we do that, Scott?
You can.
You want to formalize that motion?
that was my motion to, agree to give out of the opioid money, 300,000 to Talitha Coombs, 300,000 to the Church of God for their project, and then the 500,000 for the Aspire, project.
To be matched by a state.
To be matched by the state. And then have contingent that the commissioners also agree to the same at their next meeting.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded that that's what we do as
Can I make a
articulated by Kent.
Is it okay if I make a comment before we vote?
Yeah,
All right.
just a second.
I just want to make a comment for the general public, because they're watching us now, that this is not taxpayer money.
Well, it's federal.
Yeah, well, yeah, but.
Well, it's opioid
It's
settlement.
opioid.
No, it's an opioid settlement. It came from the court.
Not tax.
Because they were sued. So it's not taxpayer money any way, shape, or form. This is.
Wait just a second. Wait just a second.
Wait a minute.
Here's all we
Sheriff
have.
raised a
Great.
good point. Let's separate the motions just in case.
So something doesn't work. That's probably a good idea.
Okay. Well, okay, so I'll
I
make,
don't think it's gonna be an issue.
I'll make the first motion that we allow Talitha Coombe $300,000 out of the opioid money. And the same stipulation applies that the commissioners agreed to it at their next meeting. And then, so I need a second for that motion.
Second.
What's the financial?
I
Second.
will second it.
Robin?
Oh.
You
Yeah, I
second?
Is there a
second it.
financial problem?
Okay.
Well, so, Keely, there's 1,000,099.
Yeah.
So you technically are obligating more money than you have.
You're short $145.
Okay,
Do you want to say with excess to be compensated through food and beverage if we're short a few dollars?
Yeah, so it's really
I think we're
illegal
gonna have.
to obligate more
I think we're
than
gonna have
you
Keely donate $1.
I can donate each organization
Okay,
$150 if
so
that's what it
Half
takes.
of what's in there.
You gotta obligate only what you got.
okay, that's fine. Then we've got to split the
For
100.
ease of clarity, let them have the 300,000. I'll do the $140 short.
Okay, all right. All right, so my motion still stands with the 300,000 for Talitha Coombe out of the opioid
And I
fund.
there a
second
second?
that. With the commissioners, the
With the commissioner's
stipulation of the
approval.
commissioners
Is there a
approving.
second?
I
Robin?
did that, yep.
Okay. Been moved and seconded that we allocate 300,000 from the opioid settlement money for Talitha Coombe with the understanding that the commissioners agree. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstain.
She abstained. Okay, now my second
What's
motion,
you get the exact number?
the second motion is for the Church of God. I need the exact number, though. 299,855.
Hey, Kent, can I make a suggestion? Do you want to do something like 299 and then a 1,000 out of food and beverage and just?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll make, my motion is $299,000 out of the opioid funds and $1,000 out of food and beverage for the Church of God project, contingent with the stipulation for the commissioners at the next meeting.
1,000 coming in 2026.
Okay, we don't have enough money in
We have that
2020?
Enough now.
We have $700,000 in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Still
do.
have roughly 200,000 in food and beverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's to be paid now.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we do that. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Okay, now, do we need to make the
The Aspire
Aspire?
one, yeah.
So the third motion is is for the $500,000 out of the opioid money to be granted for the Aspire project, in contingent that they do get their match from the state and that the commissioners agree to it at their next meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded by Robin
Yep.
that we do that. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Opposed?
everybody.
Thank you, thank you.
Miss Linda?
Okay.
Oh, no worries, honey.
Can I ask you a quick question? It's not related to this, but are you the Church of God that used to be on Broadway?
No,
Didn't think so. out there? Yeah, I thought so, but I was just checking. I live across from that church.
I'd hug you if there wasn't so much table between us.
There's no reason.
Just stick around.
Sitting there for months and months waiting for another application.
Old business.
Well, you
I'm
can
gonna
always
pass
take
this
the applications for
down.
next year too.
Yes, we got more.
This is the HEDC budget for 24 and 25. And I'll just point out, it's for you to take and peruse
Mary,
for your request.
Mary's, no? Oh,
and we might want to pass one down for Tammy.
I will,
Yeah, you took Mary's.
thank you. Oh, okay. Huh? And
Thank
Mary's
you.
was different, no?
Nice.
No.
It's the same one. Not candy. Just like it's like candy.
You didn't give Mary one.
Yes, I did. Oh, I didn't give Mary
You gave
no
it to her
one.
and
I would say the right Mary. I was thinking that Mary down. I was wondering why you were saying.
I can send one to Tammy.
she'll want to see this.
I'm willing to come back.
Yeah, I
we
know.
got,
Yeah.
As to where we're at, how things
Can you do me a favor? Can you?
on a regular basis.
Yes, and just know
Give
there
this
will
to
be a
them to give to
quarterly
Mary?
financial
No.
report every quarter with the auditor's office, but they can help you get
Mary,
acclimated
can
to
you
that.
make sure?
Okay.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
so I'll just leave that with you, but I'll point out that one, there's no 26 budget here, but because it's not approved yet by the HEDC, but you can add 3.5% to the salaries, and that's basically what the 26 budget will be. Also in 24, look down at the bottom, and it says funding to the CDC of 100,000. That was excess monies that they had. CDC is the Community Development Corporation. This was developed, created by the CEOs of the Greenfield Banking Company, Nine Star, and Regional Hospital, to be kind of a guiding group in the county for economic development. They have no money, so the HEDC gave them the 100,000 to help go after the READY grants. The READY grants had to have a unit of government, not of government, but in the county to go after the grant. So CDC was the only unit in the county to do that with. They had no staff, so HEDC was the operating group that went after the READY money, which resulted in, I'm not sure how much, I don't remember right now, but 1.4 million of it was given by HEDC to the school to buy the land.
I think the Ready Grant paid for the first property, and I think that helped pay for the second property.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, for
Right,
Amplify.
but we paid for the 100,000 that allowed them to do the grant, right?
Pardon me?
Yeah, we paid for the 100,000 and allowed them to do the grant.
Ready Grant.
Yeah. But that, I mean, that came out of the 600 and some thousand we give them that year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's not an ongoing thing.
No, that was a one-time thing. There's, if you talk to those people, including Randy, there's kind of a long-term vision that the CDC would be an operating unit for economic development. For example, when we put the old jail up for bid, one of the ideas at that time was if we got no private people to buy that building, that we might give it to the CDC and let them do the best thing for it. So when we're talking about moving the justice system from downtown Greenfield to the farm, the questions have come up as to what are we going to do with the courthouse, for example. And one of the options we probably have is to have the CDC take it over and do something with it, get it off our hands.
We wouldn't
So-
have any choices what they're going to do with it,
What
right?
decade is that going to
Wouldn't be
be?
out of our hands. So I'm sure I like that.
What decade is that going to be?
Who knows?
Okay.
But you have to be
The CDC won't
building
be
up
around by then.
infrastructure,
We won't either.
you know, to do things, and that's
Okay.
where that's coming from. So
But there's no
for
reason to fund it now.
25, if you look at the 25 budget, down there, the net income projected is about 140,000. So I am saying that if we want money, if we need money for the getting up and going of the school, whatever you call it now, Amplify, that I would think HEDC would be able to contribute some cash now and probably in the future. So, second page, if you want to see the revenues, I attached it. It's a regurgitation of the 25 budget, but it include the revenues, so you see where revenues come from.
You said, did you say what their balance sheet looks like presently? What's the,
Nobody asked for the balance sheet. I would have, but I've got it someplace. I'll be glad to bring it in.
So other fees,
the 5% abatement?
It's the fire, yeah.
and then 2025 is saying 490,000, but in 2025 it's actually 732,000.
Yeah, oh, that's what it's been.
Well, I mean, that was the numbers we got the other day. It was 732,000.
That was over several years.
No.
No.
Next year's,
Oh,
it's
just for the
projected
year?
at 600 and
Okay, yeah.
some thousand. 641,000 or something like that,
Somewhere here.
or maybe.
I can't remember what fund number.
25. Let's see what's
Mary,
in
what's the
here.
fund number that cash flows that 5% fee?
I think it's 490, no, it's not 490.
Here,
Because if this is based off of 490,
450 is what was, this shows 24. I think these are paid maybe a year. 732 is what this shows for 25, but.
right, and they're basing their numbers off of 490 in their budget. So where's the extra?
Which is 450 for the year before. I think these numbers, I think probably HEDC actually gets the money a year after this, is my guess.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So the 26 budget would show income of 732.
That's Fund 1149.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
There's 400 here.
So, yeah, this only shows 400,000 coming in year to date as of, is that through November 30th?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so what does that mean? Where's the other 330?
Probably with settlement, which was just approved yesterday, so.
Oh, okay.
That will probably be distributed within the next 2 weeks.
Now, if it was 400,000 in the first settlement of the year, why would the second settlement not be 400,000?
Well, it'd probably be less.
It might be a little bit less. Nicole would really be the one to answer that, and she's actually
It's no big
doing
deal. I
settlement
was
right
just
now.
curious
Yeah.
if we're paying, if we're 2025, pay 2024, those calculations are uniform all year. The assessed value is uniform for the full calendar year. So why the spring and fall installments are different, I guess.
It depends on if they pay, sometimes some of them will pay the whole thing, like in the spring or whatever.
Oh,
So
okay.
you get less in
In
the
the fall.
fall.
I gotcha.
Always.
So I'm looking at an email
But you can
from
get your questions, they'll
Nicole.
be in, so.
She
makes
thinks it will be 732,000
Okay,
for 24, pay 25.
okay.
Okay, so,
So,
okay, I'm not clear on all the numbers yet, but if their budget is $534,000 or $535,000, and our income or their draw is 732,000 plus their income that they're getting from everybody else, then there's more money than the 138,000.
just remember, this is a budget,
Okay,
Not actual.
okay.
so, I mean, if the income is more than 673,000, then the net income down there will reflect that.
Well, it's going to be because they're accounting for 490, and if it's 732, that's 242,000.
So then,
So then the number here goes to 380,000.
so then we ought to ask for 200,000 for the school,
Or 380,000.
or 300. But you
Okay.
got to ask for it.
Yes,
By the way, I talked to Michelle McConnell, who is the fundraiser for the school,
yes.
and I recommended that she talk to HEDC. Nobody has.
Okay.
So,
Well, I didn't bring it up to the board until we vetted it here. You know what I mean? I didn't bring it up to the Amplify board because I wanted to vet it through here first to make sure that I wasn't speaking on my own. And I know Michelle had talked to Walmart. You know, we've been through Walmart and they talked to Walmart again. And then, I don't know if you've got the recent email, she did get to talk to somebody from Bentonville. But it's about a $20,000, I think, thing at this point. So I told her we would continue to have conversations with.
Is that a year or a one-time thing? If you could, that was helpful.
now Walmart.
But we're not turning down $20,000,
Oh, absolutely
believe
not.
me.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But
But now Walmart was in discussions we had on the tax abatement side was, I think, offering like $100,000.
we
a
haven't
year.
seen that come through yet. The Buck Creek Township Fire Department has asked them also, has talked with Walmart, and I think the grants they're talking about are $20,000. But we haven't seen that come through yet, but we haven't vetted this other Walmart thing yet either. So.
Well, Robert and I had met with Walmart, and that's what
Yeah.
he said.
I mean, it's a positive
We
that
weren't
they're,
asking them,
it's
they
positive
just
that
offered.
we're getting positive from them, okay? Because I'm not gonna say anything bad about anybody that's willing to donate additional funds. Sure. But we just still need, I think the conversation still needs to continue. But, all right,
So you asked for it, so there, got it.
I appreciate that. That might circumvent us from having to try to change the law. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because changing the rule might not be as easy or take longer. But I'm not against doing that if we have to.
Right. Yeah, I guess it's the will of, so like, let's say Amplify wants to make an official ask. I'm assuming HEDC doesn't have a standard process and form for that. So Amplify just gets on the agenda of an HEDC board meeting, much like you would here, or how does that work?
Just ask us.
Would they have to go to, what is it,
Well,
the executive
That'd be
board?
nice for them to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be nice, yeah. The next board meeting is December, that's the third Wednesday.
You've already approved your 2026 budget at the
No.
HEDC, or
No.
that'll happen at that meeting?
Yeah.
And I think that Amplify president is going to caucus for a council seat. Mary Zerbach.
For District
1. Okay. Great information. I move we approve the minutes from the last board meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. Mary, you may have a thing or two.
Okay, last item I've got is just a couple of auditor action items. So Gallahue is no longer our mental health provider. They did finally return half of the money from what we'd originally paid them earlier this year, which in turn Aspire has been waiting on since July. So we received the money last Monday, and then Aspire sent us the invoice. We were actually able to get that advertised for a public hearing next week. So we advertised it last Wednesday, so that gives us our 10 days. We would like to get this 2025 money back out to Aspire in calendar year 2025, instead of paying it next year and be late. There was an issue years ago when we did not pay the mental health on time.
We got
So we thought it would be good to go ahead and do that in the same calendar year and just get that money back out to them.
So where is it appropriated to be expended?
It is back in the commissioner's budget, or it will be next week if you approve it at your council meeting.
So it'll come in already appropriated, or you have to advertise that?
No, we advertised it last Wednesday in order to meet the 10-day deadline for next week. So next week, we'll hold a public hearing, and if you approve that, then I will get it appropriated, and Amber can cut a check to Aspire before the end of the
So
year.
no action for us today?
No, I just wanted to give you a heads up that that would be coming next week, and we had pretty much determined that that would be your stance would be to, yes, get that money back out in 2025 since that's when it was meant to be spent.
Okay.
Okay, so just a heads up on that. And then the last thing, we need a budget transfer approval for CASA. They have a shortfall in their case manager line, which is a part-time employee line. They are asking to transfer some money from a supply line to the case manager line so they can make their payroll on Friday.
And that was,
That was for $1,458.28.
and that's going to cover them till the end of the year?
No, I think that'll cover them through this payroll, and then we're going to have to try to figure out how we're going to pay this employee for the last pay of the year.
And why are they short?
I think he's just worked a lot of hours. CASA's had a lot of cases this year.
And what is the, just structurally, with any other departments? I mean, do they have plenty of room in their other budget line items
They
without
do.
additional? Okay.
They do. I think it'll just need an approval from you next week because it's going to be from a different category
Okay.
again.
I think the justice system has just been real active this year, busy. Courts.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfer request for CASA from supplies to case manager for $1,458.28.
Second it.
It's Been moved and seconded that we do that. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Anything else, Mary?
Nope, that was all I had.
There is apparently, according to Mary, a scheduled combined commissioners meeting on December 30th. I know I'm not going to be in the state. Would anyone like to make a comment on that to the commissioners, maybe to cancel a daggone meeting?
What's the content supposed to be?
At this point, I'm not sure what's on the agenda.
Okay.
They were discussing canceling it too.
They were?
Yeah, they were.
I probably won't be in attendance either.
It's just not gonna, that's really a tough date for people to.
Yeah. So do we have, what's that look like to communicate that we would prefer another time?
I mean, is there,
About 2028.
we don't have any issues pressing us for the 30th.
Yeah, I can definitely pass that along.
Thank you.
Jim,
Great.
just one last comment on the capital improvement plan. We should get that totally vetted by second quarter of next year, because third quarter, we would want to issue the GO bond, because what we found out this year is fourth quarter did not work out real well. You were early fourth quarter, but we have been receiving anything. I told you, don't do it between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That has really held true. There are maybe not even bidders anymore. So
Why wouldn't we do it earlier?
we would. That's what I'm saying. So, but last time it took a little time to vet the capital improvement plan. So let's make our final deadline no later than the second quarter, end of second quarter, so we can issue in the third quarter, and we would be doing documents to get there.
Why wouldn't we put it on the agenda for January?
I wholeheartedly believe you should, but,
We
you know,
will.
you got to have a team. You got to have commissioners and council.
Right, so the radios is a big part of that. Is that, was that a multi-year thing, or is it end after this GO bond that we've already passed?
It's forever.
Okay,
Those radios have, John told us, a life of, I don't know, 8 years, 10 years, something like that. So he split up the county total radios into years, replacing them in sections, and it's about $800,000 per year forever.
Oh, yeah, but these bonds are gonna go away. Because
They ain't paying. You got to use the 0.4%.
Craig's the one that passed SB 1,
And maybe our program for financing the radios will go away.
Yeah.
Okay.
We may not.
Honestly, if the idea was out there when we agreed to do that, part of that notion was if we do this, we won't do all these one-off requests, right? We're absorbing this 800,000 a year expense as a whole, and that's our contribution to the system,
Right.
and don't come ask for more. But obviously, nobody correlates that. They still come ask for more. I don't know that within a couple years, anyone will appreciate that they're not paying for their radios anymore and that we absorbed it for them. And
Well, I tried to get a motion that,
But it'll-
and we wouldn't pass it, that if we did that for the county, that they shouldn't, we wouldn't listen to anyone.
Yeah, my advice is don't take on multi-year liabilities. It's bad for your balance sheet. That's coming next year.
Well, this
We don't wanna give
program
Mary a
is
headache.
one of those, I think, that has been really successful in that in the county, every, policeman, every
Right.
fireman.
I say we go as long as we can.
communicate. I mean, it's a good program.
It's one
but-
of those deals that we go as long as we can.
well, another thing about those is we've set them up like people do to replace so many each year. That doesn't mean that they completely stopped working. It means you're staying ahead of, declining equipment use. But at any given year, if we were in a real tremendous situation, there's just no replacement of radios.
Right, no. And we worked
Done
for the
that
last
before.
10 or 15 years catching up on vehicles, all those things. So if the the world falls apart in 2028 or 2029, then some of those things will just have to go on hold until
Right.
something else changes.
Pay for something you.
Scott will still be here, but I won't. I move we adjourn.
We are.
I'll second.
Thanks again, Jim, for the turkey.